What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Dermy Wormy, and I'm back with another stream. Yay! In all seriousness, I got some stuff to talk about tonight. To be really fair and honest with everybody, I have things like Hasan abusing puppies, which is true. He abused his dog. He is an abuser of his own pet. The pet that he spent an exorbitant amount on, he is abusing that dog. So we're going to talk about that. The other thing I got is Nuxtaku is being contacted by the feds about Hasan. So that will also be like a fun little thing. But I mean, I have nothing else to discuss. Nothing at all. Nothing like from 6 months ago has come back to rear its ugly head for us to all have to talk about and relitigate and discuss all over again. There's definitely not a 1,000 page not gonna scream. I'm not gonna scream. I'm just not gonna scream, okay? I'm not gonna scream, because if I scream, bad things are gonna happen. By the way, I'm gonna adjust something real quick because I just realized I don't have nothing on this thing. So give me a moment while I do this and I wait for more people to show up in chat. Why is this like this? Why do I always have to do this? Why do I always have to redo this? So I want to come down here. I want to do VTuber. Why did it fuck you? Use Sinder drama. Oh yeah, I just said it. Yeah, Sinder's back. Sinder's freaking back. And we're about to do this, okay? Sinder drama bow. Sinder drama reaction. Sinder doc. Sinder document. VTuber Sinder. VTuber Sinder. VTuber Sinder situation. Then Hasan. Hasan Abi. Hasan Piker dog. Hasan Piker dog shock collar. Hasan Piker dog shock use. Hasan Piker dog, let's see, dog abuse, dog collar. There we go. So I got those all added and fixed up. So I got that. But hey, are we doing a part 1 of Cinder's Google Docie? Yes, we are, Omar. We are doing a part 1 of this 1,000 page Google document. We will be doing a part 1 on this. I'm not doing this full 1,000 page Google Docie in one sitting. You have got to be missing me with that bullshit. I have already read through like this part here. Okay, it says it's 5 pages. It's not. There's other segments to this. An overdue. We got all this. So we're gonna try to get to Nanolist. We're gonna try to get here. If that's our general area of where we're gonna try to get to, is at least starting Nanolist, if not stopping Nanolist, because this right here isn't that insane. This is just something to kind of like give you a purview. So we're gonna try our hardest to get to that. But before we tackle that, why don't we do this first? You know what? Why don't we do something a little light and a little here, let's save this as the middle part, because we got some other serious shit we got to get into. Guys, we got other serious shit we got to start off with. Okay, because we got to start the night with this, because this is serious. This is total horse crap. And the fact of the matter that this man is still allowed to be on the internet, even with this going around right now, is insane to me. Mind you, though, Twitch is a system of two-tier justice, where as long as you have the right politics, you can get away with just about anything. Now, you might be sitting there wondering what it is that I'm talking about. Well, we're going to come right on over here and we're going to look at this, because this was making the rounds today. From Yeet, Hasan's dog Kaya yelps after he appeared to reach for something while telling her to get back in place. So this clip, I am going to say viewers warning and everything, all that stuff. This is a clip of Hasan going off on some weird BS about America sucking because he doesn't have internet, but it's all centered around his dog here. So we're going to play this and we're going to watch this. We're going to see what Hasan does to his dog here, because ain't nobody going to be coming out here and telling me that this isn't what it appears to be.
Of all of America's much more consequential violence, okay? It's the same reason as to why America, Kaya, please just fucking go, just stop. Jesus Christ, what are you doing? You're being such a baby. It's just, you're making her stressed. She just literally is so incredibly spoiled from my mom.
No, she's not spoiled. You're abusing her. You full on just abused your dog. It's not done. And you're berating your dog for doing what? Getting up. That's what you just did there. You abused your dog for getting up. And this clip isn't done. You're berating her and abusing her for just getting up.
No, she doesn't want to come over here to see what's up. She just wants to fucking roam the house because she got to roam the house when I was gone. And she needs to literally have the same structured, regimented.
Oh, yeah. He starts realizing what the hell it sounds like when you're saying shit like that. She needs to have the same structured, regimented. What? Now, I do know that there's clips of Hasan with his dog not being in frame before. That, like, the dog's not always there 24/7. But it's becoming very obvious that he only uses the dog as nothing more than any of these other props. That's all his dog is. It's a prop to him. So the fact that the dog's getting up to go do something, get water, eat, stretch her legs, do something, that leads him to do the obvious, which is shock her. Because I'm going to play this from the beginning one more time, guys. I'm going to do this all from the beginning. Just watch, because I'm pretty sure I heard a click.
Of all of America's much more consequential violence, okay? It's the same reason as to why America, Kaya, please just fucking go, just stop.
He reached for something. He reached for something. That is 100% me. Like when I'm reaching to switch over my OBS to do something else, he reached for something there. And then she yelps. That's like he has a shock collar essentially hooked up to his stream deck. I'm not saying that's true, by the way. That's just what I'm saying this looks like. It looks like he has a stream deck here, because that's where I keep my stream deck, right here. It looks like, oh my God, and presses a button on his stream deck to shock her. There's no getting around that. That 100% looks like he shocked her. But hey, this is his defense of it. Hasan denies using a shock collar on Kaya, says she clipped herself on something.
To hear oral arguments on Thursday.
Oh my
we should
God.
Note that new CBS.
Is there like a fucking LSF video or something? Is that why there's like hella people coming in here and screeching?
Screeching. Bro, you're abusing your dog. That's not screeching. That's people actually showing you're abusing your dog.
Is that what's going on? Oh, classic. Yeah, you're abusing your dog. Classic. It started on D, then H3, then LSF is the classic pipeline. I'm gonna fucking...
Started on D, then 8. No, it's not a classic pipeline. This is going viral for very valid reasons. And it didn't start on whatever this D is. It started primarily by Kiwi Farms. They all started this. Like, this was going viral because it's so shocking to see.
Die, dude. Yes, I am incredibly abusive.
Yes.
To the not only best trained.
That's why she has to stay there. Again, your exact words were, well, she wasn't doing her thing. She was trying to roam the house, which isn't allowed. She needs to be on a strict regimen. That obviously she's not best trained then. Obviously that's proof that she's not best trained, because she wasn't doing what you were wanting her to do. So already you're missing the point there. But okay, let's keep doing this.
But also the best behaving. And
then why was she getting up to walk away and bothering you? If she's best behaving, why shock her? Because you shocked her. You did it. You're now saying that it's all the dog's fault here.
Most spoiled dog on the planet.
Spoiled
is
because
from when Kaya yelped. Yeah, she yelped because she fucking clipped herself on something when she was getting off the bed.
Nope, that's not when she yelped, actually. If we come right on back over here, when does she yelp? When does she yelp?
Much more consequential violence, okay? It's the same reason as to why America, Kaya, please just fucking go, just stop.
She yelped when she was hopping back on the bed. She yelped when she was going back onto the bed. That's when she yelped. It wasn't when she was coming off the bed. She was turning around even. There's no area for her to have clipped herself on anything. You can watch this frame by frame and you can end up seeing like there's nothing she could have done. See? Goes here. Because you can tell when it happens because he reaches over. Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. See? That jump. That jump right there. There's a jump there. Right there. That's when she yelps. I can play the audio too. You could see the jump.
He's just fucking go, just stop.
Right there. Reached over, just stop. She jumps. There's nothing there to clip on. Nothing at all. So you saying, well, she clipped herself. You shocked her. You shocked her using a shock collar just because she was readjusting herself on the bed, moving around or doing something like that. That's what you did. What's that sound, says Omar? That sound is of the dog yelping. That's what it is. He shocked his goddamn dog because she wasn't sitting in place or doing the right thing. That's what he did there. And by the way, we have other proof. We have more evidence of this because we have a close-up of the collar right here. Because there's some people trying to come out here and say that no, there's no shock collar here. There's no shock
the same
collar.
positive association with Israel. So all this
Look at this collar right here.
does is breed resentment against Israel, and also depending on how in the same
Look at that collar right there. Look at that collar.
positive association with Israel.
That's a shock collar right there. That's a freaking shock collar. And to make it worse, we have this from Savvy. A close-up, there's a green light right there. For those of you that don't know, I own a shock collar myself because I was doing a dumb grift where I would shock myself for $100, okay? It was a dumb joke. I know what a shock collar looks like. I know individuals that have shock collars for their dogs. They don't use it like this, by the way. They use it more for the beeping effect to help train their dog to do stuff. So if you want to actually make sure your dog's doing something, you don't go straight for the shock. There's vibration effects, there's beeping, there's other things you can do other than straight to the shock. You did none of that. You just went straight to the shock. And that's not me sitting here saying, hey, I condone use of shock collars. That's just me saying I know people that utilize them. I have one for myself because I'm a weirdo. But at the same time, there's ways to use a shock collar that is appropriate. You don't go straight for the shock. You do beeps, vibrations, shocks the last resort. You didn't do any of that stuff. You just went straight for the shock. So even if we want to play that game, but also over in California, there are some laws that restrict people from using shock collars. I don't like shock collars at all. In fact, I don't want to see a shock collar on a dog because I find them to be atrocious of monumental proportion. But to sit here and know that he's using a shock collar to basically control his freaking dog is insane to me. It's nightmarish to me that he's just using it to basically abuse his dog. Because again, you would watch this, okay? Look, you watch through the clip.
All of America's much more consequential violence, okay? It's the same reason as to why America, Kaya, please just fucking go, just stop.
Guess what you would do right there? Okay, if you're using the shock collar appropriately, the shock is the beep right there. The beep's the beginning, then you vibrate. The beeping, if they are properly trained, utilizing a shock collar, even though I'm not a fan of shock collars, I still know how to utilize them. The beep is the warning. Then you do the vibration if they keep doing it. The beep should be all you need. You don't need to go straight for the shock because the shock is the bad thing. The shock is the punishment. The shock is the problem. You went straight to the shock to hurt her in order to get her to do what you wanted to do. There's no training here. This is full-fledged abuse going on right here. This isn't appropriate in any stretch of the imagination. This is monstrous and nightmarish. Anybody that actually even utilizes shock collars on their dogs, because again, I know people that do utilize them because they have large dogs that roam around and they just use them to help, maintain them, not actually use it as punishment, but it is a way to train your dog. They don't go at all for straight to shock. You don't go straight to shock any single time. It's beeps. You have a series of beeps that you do. You have a system that you do. You don't go to the shock. You never want to do the shock. And even if you go to the shock, guess what? You always keep it on the lowest setting because you don't actually want to hurt your dog. But I don't think Hasan even understands that because we can come over here. This is an old video of Hasan with his dog. Hasan talked about his dog's collar on the past. Probably from the past is what they mean, but this is an old conversation about the collar that he's using right here.
And now it's mainstream. I love her. I think her collar's too tight.
Here we can.
It's you have to be able to get 2 fingers, and I couldn't even get one. I think you're choking her.
She's like,
I 100% believe that he's choking the dog. I do. Because, again, this is common dog knowledge. The collar itself, 2 fingers. Always be able to fit 2 fingers under there, okay? That's what you're supposed to do. That's common dog knowledge. I have essentially 2 puppies. There's a year old, so they're no longer puppies, but as they were growing up, I was constantly adjusting their dog collar. I'm still checking their dog collar every single day to make sure that it's not choking them, that it's not doing anything wrong to them, because I'm worried about them and I always think about them and care about them first. I am trying to train them. I am trying to teach them, hey, how to do things properly. I don't do any of this stuff, but all I'm saying is that he's a bad freaking dog owner who only has a pet here as a freaking prop to sit in the back of his freaking thing to go like, oh, look at my awesome dog. Look how awesome I am. Look at my super expensive dog. Because remember, this is an expensive dog breed right here. People have done the research. They're a couple $1,000s just for this breed alone. And I'm seeing this man abuse this creature, and it sickens the hell out of me.
It's because she has a lot of neck meat.
A lot of neck meat. Yeah, a lot of neck meat. No. It doesn't matter if there's neck meat or not. You need to loosen the collar. Neck meat isn't an excuse. That neck meat is important. It doesn't matter if it's fat. It doesn't matter if it's flubber. It doesn't matter if it's skin. You need to always be able to get those 2 fingers up under there. And I know somebody's probably got to clip that out and go like, oh, look at the finger motion he's doing. The 2 fingers are important. That is how they breathe. That is how they move. You need it to be comfortable. You can't have it on that frickin' tight, you psychopath. You straight up psycho. And before somebody comes out here and tries to do the whole like Hasan simps, coming in here watching this on the replay or whatever, trying to defend it, there's old footage coming out of Hasan owning an actual shock collar. This is him right here, even talking about it because Mr. Mediker found the old receipt right here.
My old roommate wanted to use a shock collar for fish and his dogs. For fish and his dogs
For fish? Why would they ever want to use it for fish? But okay.
barking. I couldn't do it. I have it still. I bought it.
So you have a shock collar. We know you own a shock collar. We know you own a shock collar. Your dog's yelping because you shocked it. But to further push this point, I'm trying to see, do I have it? Oh yeah, right here. Here's a picture of one of Hasan and his old doggos. Here's Hasan and one of his older dogs, okay? This is making the rounds now. And you might not be able to actually see it that well, but so I'll open it up here in another tab. See, here's Hasan, here's his dog, and what's that? What's that? What's on his dog collar right here, guys? And I just glitched up there. What's on his dog collar right here? Those are spikes. Those are inverted spikes on his dog collar, bros. On his old dog, he had a collar that had inverted spikes. This is monstrous. This is demonic. This is full-on abuse. Those inverted spikes are to use when the dog's getting unruly. Pull back. This is abuse right here. So if we already know that one of his animals, he was freely happy to go around there and use another weapon, essentially, another tool that would essentially abuse his dogs. He had no problem doing that. What's to say he's not using a shock collar now to brace it, to abuse his dog, to full-on abuse it? And again, I know the dog's not always in the back here, but he only treats this dog as a prop. This dog's nothing more than a prop to him. And you've been seeing people come out here and give their opinions and opine on this. Like, yeah, Tectone here. Tectone drops a series of tweets calling out Hasan for the Kai situation, which I 100% agree with him on everything he's saying here because it's insane to me. Hasan, who goes around there, acts all justified like he's better than Tectone. He's abusing his dog. There's no proof that Tectone ever abused his dog. None whatsoever. But hey, Hasan's freely doing it on stream. Always wondered how Hasan kept his dog behind him all stream. It's because he's been using a shock collar on a setting so high that his dog effing screams when he uses it. Using your dog as a prop to seem more friendly, relatable, and down to earth when in reality, the dog isn't sitting there of his own volition, but stays there out of fear. I'm beyond disgusted. F this man whole existence. 100% agree. This dog's nothing more than a prop. It's a tool for him. Hey, we got more. Disgusting effing, using your dog as a prop, shocking him to stay in place. What an abusive scum F. Piece of ish has the setting up so high that the dog effing cries. Hasan gets worse every day. He'll say this this is out of context. He'll get away with it again. And worst of all, Twitch will once again do nothing, which I'm honestly terrified of. I'm terrified that Tectone's saying it as it is right now. Think about it. Think about it. There's been other creators that have come out here and punched their dog on stream. There's creators that have thrown their cats on stream. There's creators that have actually abused other animals on stream. And you want to know what happens to them? They lose their channel. They lose their credibility. They basically become nothing. There was one girl that had to do the whole ukulele thing, I believe, to end up apologizing for the fact that she abused her dog. Nobody talks about her anymore. She's completely gone because she abused her dog. Hasan's going to get away with it. Hasan's 100% going to get away with it. This is extremely disgusting and terrifying, and Twitch isn't going to do shit. Here's Hasan admitting he owns a shock collar since he once again looked at his audience in the eye and lied to your face again. Yet you will continue to suck the shit out of this man's ass when he doesn't give a damn about you and sees you as a dollar sign. Because it's true. Remember, what was Hasan saying? What was the excuse for the dog yelping? What was the excuse?
The best behaving and most spoiled dog on the planet is from when Kaya yelped. Yeah, she yelped because she fucking clipped herself on something when she was getting off the bed.
That's not true. That's not true. It's impossible. We already went over the video multiple times. It's impossible. But hey, there's people out there that will full on believe that stuff because they're so brain dead. My dog was also professionally trained. A shock collar should feel like a gentle to firm touch, not a setting so high that it effing screams. Do not make excuses for this. And I agree. I know people that use shock collars. I don't like them. I have my own, but that was because I'm a psychopath that wanted to use it on myself for money. That's besides the point. Okay? The people that I know that use shock collars, the setting's on like a 4, maybe a 3. It's not there to actually hurt them. It's there to just help, position them, to help warn them that, hey, don't do this. And before you even get to the shock, it's beeps and vibrations every single time. And the beep should be all that you need to do. If it's professionally trained, if it's properly trained, all you need is that beep. All you ever need is the beeping that a shock collar does to warn the dog, hey, I'm fucking up right now. I need to get back in line. That's all you ever need to do. This is so disgusting to see this going on here. Is this an American thing? Shock collars in Europe are basically for a big, potentially vicious dogs, not medium-sized house dogs. So again, like the people that I know that use shock collars, personally, they're dogs that have shock collars. They're big dogs. We're talking Great Danes over here. We're talking not German Shepherds. We're talking like the big dogs, like the I can't think what it is, but like in the old cartoons, like Bugs Bunny, the breed of dog that would go running around, not Saint Bernards. Like that's what this people have. Like they have huge dogs. That's why they utilize them, and that's what it actually works on. You don't like my dogs personally. I have like retrievers. I have normal sized dogs that don't need a shock collar at all. So when they're the bigger dogs, it makes a little bit more sense, but you still don't really need them that much. When it comes to Hasan's dog doesn't need a shock collar at all. That's just pure abuse. This is not a breed that you're going to need to be shocking it. That's not big enough. That's not worrying enough. This is just pure abuse right here. But we come back over here, okay, because we went through Tectone stuff, but we got this from Ethan Klein, because Ethan Klein 100% gets to take some laps right now. Because for those of you who haven't been watching the Ethan Klein drama or anything like this, a lot of the big stuff that started sparking off with the Ethan Klein drama was a bunch of people lying and saying that he was mistreating his dogs, that he was abusing his dogs. Zero evidence to back it up, by the way. No evidence whatsoever. But now we have evidence actually of Hasan abusing his dog. So Ethan Klein does get to take some laps right now. But Ethan Klein calls out Hasan for the Kaya clip. And we can see this Instagram post right here. Horrifying animal cruelty caught on camera by Hasan as he activates her shock collar for one tiny step off of her bed. She cries in pain, poor baby. I always thought it was extremely bizarre that this young, energetic puppy never took a step off her bed. That has to be the result of some brutal, strict training. Think about it. And I've seen her, take steps off here or there. Like she has very cautious movement. But whenever you really look at a bunch of Hasan clips, You might see her there from time to time, but for the most, you'll see her there the majority of the time. You'll see her in that bed the vast majority of the time when he's streaming for 8+ hours a day. She'll just be sitting there. She might get up at very particular moments to get some water or do something, but then she's always right back there. Dogs don't do that. They don't. My dogs don't do that. Even when they come inside, my dogs don't do that at all. In fact, my dogs are constantly moving around. When I have my brother's dog here, and I stream with my brother's dog here from time to time, he'll be over there, he'll be over there, he'll be under my desk, he'll be all over the place, because that's what dogs do. They're still well trained. They know when to go out when they're ready to go out, but no dog normally just lays there. Especially a young dog like Hasan's dog. They don't just lay there. They move around. They might not be super energetic, but they're going to move around to other parts of the room. They're never just going to lay in the exact same spot over and over and over again. And then lay there for 8+ hours. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. But hey, we also got this from Ethan Klein. Again, taking some justifiable laps because there's somebody that decided to come out here and run to Hasan's defense. Anissa Jamha came out here to run to Hasan's defense because, well, she has to. What a pathetic ish stain of a human being to immediately hand wave animal abuse and instead try to turn it on my four loved dogs. Anissa will erase this tweet after more evidence of Hasan's animal abuse comes to light, which we already have a lot. I'm a big dog advocate. Love training dogs with positive reinforcements, as you can tell with Merlin and Fiona on Ian's streams. I've met Kaya. I saw Kaya while Hasan was streaming. She never had shock collar on. Well, that's a bold-faced lie. That's a bold-faced lie. She was good at her place. Command, but that's very easily accomplished with positive reinforcement. I would be very, very surprised if this was actually Kaya reacting to a shock collar. Well, we have evidence that he has a shock collar on, mind you. There's this. There's the light. It's a shock collar, you schizo. Just because Ethan's horrible dog owner and can't train his dogs worth ish doesn't mean other people are using shock collars. Hasan's using a shock collar. Immediately ran to his defense. CPS visiting my family. Anissa sleeps. Hasan caught abusing his dog on camera. I must defend my friend. Oh, and then if you loved your dogs, you would teach them to stop ishing in the house. If you loved your husband, you would train him to stop shitting in his pants. Ethan gets the right to take a victory lap right now. Because with Hasan, he's abusing his dog. He's full-fledged abusing his dog. Ethan wasn't. All the evidence to Ethan abusing his dog is nothing. There's no proof that Ethan was ever abusing his dog outside of hearsay evidence. We have video footage now of Hasan abusing his dog, and Anissa's quick jump to defend her friend and never once came out and said anything about Ethan Klein other than he's a bad dog owner. But hey, Hasan Piker, we got to defend wholeheartedly. But here's Ethan Klein one more time putting out a TikTok talking about the exact same thing because rightfully so, more people need to talk about this.
Many of you guys know that I'm a dog lover, and there are a few things that horrify me more than people that abuse their animals. These are precious creatures that need us, depend on us, and abusing that trust is such a horrible crime. A clip of Hasan Piker is going viral right now of him shocking his dog Kaya.
And real quick, Jax Teller, I agree. Your dog's a member of your family. It's your brother. It's your sister. It's your friend. Some people call them their fur babies, which I think is a little cringe, but they're a part of your family. They are there to be one with you. You don't go immediately ever to the harsh punishment. Even if you're going to shock them, it's the mild shock. It's the tiny shock. It's just enough to get them to know that, hey, this is bad. I don't want to do this again. Even when there's people that have farms like myself that might lay shock, essentially, the wires in the ground that help them know, hey, this is the perimeter you're allowed to be in. When they cross that thing, it's a tiny shock. It's enough to buzz them, bother them, but it doesn't hurt them. It doesn't make them yelp. It's them going like, oh my God, I shouldn't do this again. That's what you do. Even when it comes to cows and electric fence, I've grabbed those fences before. It feels weird, but it doesn't hurt. It's unsettling, the feeling that goes through you. It doesn't outwardly hurt. If it hurts, there's something wrong there.
For taking one step off of her mat. Let's take a look.
Such a first world problem, but it is emblematic of all of America's much more consequential violence. Okay? It's the same reason as to why America, Kaya, please just fucking go, just stop. Jesus Christ, what are you doing? You're being such a baby.
I always found it bizarre how Kaya, who's this young, energetic puppy, stayed in 1 square foot of Hasan's room, right in sight of camera, almost like just a prop in his room. Well, now we know why. He's using extreme austerity measures to shock and abuse his animal and then blaming her, getting mad at her for him hurting her. There's further evidence from a recent broadcast.
And now it's mainstream. I love her. I think her collar's too tight.
It's here we can.
You have to be able to get 2 fingers, and I couldn't even get one. I think you're choking her.
She's like, it's she has a lot of neck meat.
This woman on
I'm sorry, I can't get over that whole, it's a lot of neck meat. Yeah, that's her neck, you dumbass. It's too tight. Fix it, you monster.
Hasan's stream was concerned enough that, she had to say something live. I'm sure that was the last thing she wanted to do, was humiliate him on his own stream. But she was that worried. She couldn't even fit a single finger under her collar. And you get the sense that he was about to say, it's a shock collar. He says, it's a ... and then he doesn't finish the sentence. As I'm sure Hasan will try to deny using a shock collar, here's a clip of him admitting he owns one.
John.
My old roommate wanted to use a shock collar for Fish and his dogs. For Fish and his dogs barking. I couldn't do it.
For Fish and his dogs barking, that still doesn't make any sense. That makes 0 sense.
have it still. I bought it.
With all that evidence and more coming out, it's pretty hard to deny that Hasan has been abusing his dog for the absolutely vain project of just sitting there in frame for 9 hours straight every day. Terrible.
Yeah, terrible. Full-fledged monstrous behavior. Everything you're seeing right now coming out from Hasan, that is nightmarish. And the scariest thing about this all, legitimately, the thing that's gonna drive me up a wall and piss me off the most is you come back over here to everything Tectone said, okay? Everything Tectone said. Twitch ain't gonna do shit. Hasan's fans are going to come out here and they're going to eat it up. They're going to eat up all the excuses Hasan says. I'm going to get comments when I upload this as its own clip. I'm going to get comments from Hasan simps saying, no, it's out of context, or no, it's not real, or no, he said this, or whatever, because they're brain dead. Twitch won't punish him, rightfully so, even though they have punished countless other people for doing way worse to their pets on stream. Nobody's going to stop him. And that's the worst part about this, is Hasan's not going to see the justifiable results of his dog shit actions, of his atrocious actions, and the fact that he abuses his own animal even on stream. This is a monster of a human being that will never see any actual accountability because Twitch is cucked that much. What a psycho shitbag. Yes! Like you've already said, when you used correctly, the beep should work. I've shocked my dog once on a beach when and he's 7 years old. Yeah, that makes sense. Like my family friends that they come out to my farm. Like we live in the country, okay? They bring out their dogs all the time to go run around and have fun. Their newest dog, who's a Great Dane. No, not a Great Dane. Mastiff. It's a Mastiff. Big dog, huge dog, holy shit balls. I'm like, holy fuck, that's a big dog. And I kind of want one. Anyways, he comes running around and they already have it properly trained. Like they've only had this dog now for a few months. They already have it properly trained that if he's starting to act up, or do something like that, beeps, get him to stop. Just a few beeps, get him to stop every single time. Because they know how to properly do it. They've had several other dogs, several other large dogs, because they love their large dogs. They've got several other large dogs that all they have to do is beep. I think they've only ever had to, I don't know if they ever actually had to step so far to the point that they had to shock a dog. Maybe once they did, but that dog really hated cats. And that's the whole reason that they had to shock it, was it was starting to actually tear up vehicles because it wanted to get to a cat. There's a reason for that one. I don't remember what mastiff it is. It's a big mastiff. All I know is a mastiff. Let me look it up real quick. Let me look it up real quick. Let me see if I can find it. Like looking in between bull, mastiff. Not a bull mastiff. Maybe English mastiff. Nope, not an English mastiff either. Maybe it is a Great Dane. I'm looking at these real quick, like these big dogs. By the way, I still want a Tibetan Mastiff. That is my dream dog, just because they're big and they look cute. Okay, they're big and fluffy. Maybe it is a Great Dane because it looks more like this one here, but with pointy ears upwards. So maybe it's a Great Dane. So like, imagine this, but has more like the Cane Corso or one of these other dogs with the ears pointing more upwards than everything else. So I need to ask them again. Doberman. Maybe it's a Great Dane mixed with a Doberman. Maybe that's what it is, because it's a fucking huge dog. Like, I'm 6'5". That dog's huge. That dog actually, I don't think it comes up to my chest, but it comes up pretty high on me. And I'm like, that's a huge dog. And I want one. Great Danes are Mastiffs. It might be a Great Dane mixed with a Doberman. That might be what it is, because it kind of has like the height of a Great Dane, because it's a massive dog, but with kind of like a Doberman head. So with the pointy ears and all that. So, and I've only seen the dog like 3 times, so I don't know off the top of my head. Like, I haven't got a chance to actually play around with him that much. I've only seen him. It's fucking huge. Irish Wolfhound is the largest breed. I thought so. Wait, I thought it was the Tibetan Mastiffs, because aren't they the ones that battle? No. I'm thinking of something else. Yeah, Tibetan Mastiffs are the ones that battle bears, aren't they? It's probably a liger. Nah. Cane Corso is an Italian Mastiff. You're right, probably a mix. I think it's a mix of a dog. Maybe a Great Dane mixed with Doberman. Because it has the Doberman style of a head, but it kind of has like the Great Dane body, which is, again, I'm 6'5". That dog, I'm willing to bet that dog's about as tall as this bookshelf behind me. Like, that's how big that dog is. And I freaking love it. I've only seen it twice, but because I'm a dog guy, I'm like, I kind of want to play with it and own it. I want it. My other doggos love playing with him too, so I enjoy him so much. I love doggos. I'm a huge dog fan, okay? I'm not that big on cats, but dogs I love to death. I love them so much. I take good care of them, and they're fun to always have around. Plus, we live on a farm, so they get plenty of room to roam around, have fun. We take good care of them. We feed them every single day, keep them nice watered, nice sheltered. They love it out here, and they get to do whatever the hell they want. It's so fun. And I love getting to have my dogs come running up to me every day I come home from work. It's the best. Love my puppers. I love my puppers. And Hasan doesn't. Hasan doesn't love his dogs at the end of the day. That's the most sickening part of this. Like, I keep going back to this. Like, all you have to do is protect your dog. All you have to do is be there with your dog. To think that you're willing to treat your dog in this way and just abuse it because it's stepping off of its little bed sickens me to shit. It sickens me to all hell. And I can't, I'll never be able to get out of this. Look at this. I'm quickly reading something real quick. what? I don't disagree with this. I don't disagree with this. Well, this was going to be for another part that we're about to do, but while we're still on Hasan, sorry, we still have to tackle the Sinder stuff. While we're on Hasan, we do have this. This is funny to me. Okay, this is funny because for those of you who are unaware, Twitch is about to be brought up before Congress here on Thursday, I believe it is. I believe it is this Thursday, yes, and I just looked it up. The U.S. House Oversight Committee requests the Twitch CEO Dan Clancy testify at a hearing on October 8th, 2025. Actually, that's today when the hearing is supposed to be taking place, as of time of recording this. So this should already be going down. Maybe it hasn't gone down yet. I don't know. But Twitch is going to be brought in front of Congress for extremism purposes because, well, Hasan exists. Outside of him abusing his dog, let's not mince words here. There's a lot of other things that Hasan has done over the years that is nightmarish. But because of people like Hasan existing, they're being brought to testify before Congress. And we got some actually funny things that are going down right now. Nextaku over here. Now, when it comes to Nextaku, I don't hate the dude, don't love the dude. I'm indifferent, and that's kind of how I am with most individuals in this world. I'm indifferent. I hear things all the time about them. I don't give a damn. They have good points, I'm gonna give them credit for having a good point. If they have a bad point, I'm gonna knock them for having a bad point. But Nextaku has been one of the people championing the Take Down Hasan campaign and informing so many people about all the insane garbage Hasan has actually spewed out onto the internet, all the harassment, the actual death threats, everything that Hasan has done. And Nux had this to say today.
Oh, I made this tweet, and believe it or not, someone in the government actually reached out to me and asked if I could actually provide evidence behind these bullet points. And I complied. They told me that they wanted to be prepared in regards to the hearing. So you're welcome for your service, America. So yeah. Again, I don't know if it'll mean anything or if it'll go anywhere, but they did reach out, and I was more than happy to assist in any way that I possibly can. I mean, trying to keep America safe. I've never shied away from the fact that I think Hasan Piker needs to be in jail. He supports terrorist organizations. Like, what are we doing? Like, I thought that was it. Calling for violence? All right, that's pretty bad. But supporting terrorist organizations? Like, literally, why? Oh,
I love this. I love this because normally, let's be fair here. When it comes to any sort of congressional event or of any kind going on right here, most senators and congressmen get a sound bite, get a sound clip, and then walk away. They might address, a thing here or there. When it comes to like Steven Crowder being brought up in Congress, you'll have people like Senator Hirono, or maybe it's Congresswoman Hirono. I don't remember her name. She's from Hawaii. She'll say Steven Crowder is bad person and please take him down for saying slurs. While at the same time, you'll get Senator Ted Cruz coming out here going like, Steven Crowder's a friend of mine, and you guys took him down unjustifiably. They'll say all that stuff. They might say it, play a clip here or there. They're going to do a bunch of lip service. But the thing that keeps getting to me on all this, ever since this was first announced that Congress was actually calling Twitch up, people like Hasan have been acting a lot differently. They've been a little bit more scared, to say the least. There's a lot of people that are a little bit touchy-feely right now. And to sit here and think that there's people actually who are going to be there at the hearing, at the testimony and everything, that are going to have all these different clips of Hasan, all this stuff. Because even with this tweet, you can see some of this, and we've gone through so many of these things. But if a person in government actually reached out, Hasan Piker called for the death of Senator Tom Cotton, Senator Rick Scott, landlords, fascists, Zionists, all these things. There's so many different clips of Hasan calling for death of individuals. There's so many clips of Hasan coming out here going all out on pro-terrorism, like all this stuff. There's so many different clips here that if one person, just one person from Congress, just starts playing this stuff in front of Dan Clancy and everybody else in Congress, they're gonna be like, yeah, we can't defend this. We can't defend this stuff at all. You saw Hasan calling for rivers of blood? Yeah, it's happened on multiple occasions. People come out here and say that they're all out of context. They're not. That's the worst part. When you play with context, they're worse every single time. So to know that there's somebody in Congress, there's somebody in the government that is taking this seriously, at least one person, and Nux gave them all the evidence. I keep believing this more and more. I think Hasan's days are numbered. And the reasoning for this isn't just because, you know, Twitch loves Hasan and blah, blah, blah. All Congress really needs to do is impose a little pressure on Twitch. And I don't normally like this. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a fan of this, but think about this. All Congress needs to do is say, hey, if you don't fix this shit, there's going to be penalties. There's going to be some sort of financial penalty. There's going to be this or this, and it's going to incur some sort of debt of some sort that Congress can impose on a business. There'll be a sanction, there'll be a fine, there'll be restrictions of some sort that goes on there. And then think about this. All Twitch needs to do to relieve any sort of like the tension, any sort of the punishment, any sort of this stuff, is get rid of Hasan. Is Hasan worth it at the end of the day? Is Hasan truly worth it for Twitch? The headaches, the potential financial penalties, the constant bad press, and the fact of the matter that if Twitch, all Congress has to basically do is point out the obvious. The Hasan crowd contends for maybe 20% of Twitch. Maybe 20%. It might be less to 15 to 10% of Twitch. That's that crowd. The vast majority of Twitch isn't the Hasan crowd. They aren't the people causing the controversies, the dramas, putting you in the bad press, making all sorts of chaos. It's just a simple math problem at that point in time. You want to protect the rest of your entire platform, not Hasan. Hasan's done for. So if Congress puts just the right pressure in just the right spot, Hasan's done for. And then where would Hasan go? Think about it. Where would Hasan go if he doesn't have Twitch? Can't go to Kick. The audience doesn't want him on Kick. Can't go to Rumble. He doesn't want to be on Rumble. He could go to YouTube. Problem is, if he does what he does on YouTube, they ain't gonna let that fly. They will kick his ass off right quick. Hasan only has one place that he can actually stream on, and that's Twitch. And if he doesn't have Twitch, he doesn't have anything. But I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm excited. I live in the UK. If I said that it's 10 years in prison, yeah, I don't disagree, Jax Teller. Like anybody else who says stuff like Hasan has said, they'd lose their channel and they go to jail. If I said it, I'd lose my channel and go to jail. Clancy would never throw him under the bus. He would Buffalo Bill Hasan's skin if he could. So that's the thing, though, that I know Dan Clancy and the people at Twitch love Hasan. But the problem becomes simple math. A simple math problem begins. Simultaneously, you have people like Jeff Bezos that they might not be the current CEO of like Amazon, but he still has stake and he still has a seat on the board. If Twitch starts having massive penalties imposed upon them, reminder, Twitch doesn't actually produce any actual revenue for Hasan. It's a loss leader. Similar to YouTube is a loss leader for Google. The difference is YouTube is actually like an area where they can get a bunch of ads out. They actually have like some sort of use for it. And that's one of the reasons like Google loves YouTube, is because even though it's a loss leader, there is a benefit to it. What's the benefit for Twitch to Amazon? There isn't any. And then if you keep realizing like the vast majority of your Twitch audience and the vast majority of Twitch hates this one dude, and this one dude is detrimental to the vast majority of the platform, it's very easy to just say, hey, we're going to get rid of this one dude. He has his head up. He's a problem child. You now have people in Congress who are seeing what it is that he's saying is being played for all of America to see over and over and over again. It's going to be on Fox News. It's going to be on CNN. It's going to be on I was about to say MSNBC, but it'll be on ABC and all these things. Everything that Hasan says over and over and over again, everybody's going to be talking about it over and over and over. It's not just going to be a one-time thing. It's going to be a consistent thing. What's the best course of action to take in that period in time? Get rid of Hasan. Think about it. That's what they did to conservative commentators on Twitch or on like YouTube. If that conservative commentator poked his head up just a little too high and had to deal with bad rules and everything like that, there's multiple reasons. That guy poked his head just a little too high, reached too close to the sun, yeeted him every single time. And now it's time for Hasan to get that same treatment. And it'd be super easy. Like if you sit down and think about it, it's the easiest course of action. Would you destroy? Is Twitch even worth destroying for Hasan? Because if you're gonna say that Twitch, like Dan Clancy is that retarded, which don't get me wrong, I think he is retarded, but I don't think he's that retarded. I think the best move will be get rid of Hasan. Because even if you get rid of Hasan, you punish Hasan fully, like you yeet his channel completely, he'll try to go to Kick. I think that's the best bet. Kick or YouTube, that's where he'll try to go. YouTube won't let him. Kick, his audience won't go, but he'll go to one of those two places, okay? And depending on which place he goes, the other streamers will follow. Because they need Hasan to be relevant. Denims needs Hasan. Frogan needs Hasan. All those people, they need Hasan to be relevant. They can't be relevant without Hasan. So if you get rid of Hasan, you get rid of your big problem. Twitch is a leftist platform. Hasan hasn't done anything wrong to deserve a full-on ban. Yes, he has. Yes, he has. 100%. Calling for the death of individuals. Yes, that has broken Twitch's TOS on multiple occasions. Brandishing weapons on stream. That he has done. Breaks so much of Twitch's TOS. You also have things like he hasn't? Yes, he has. Calling for the death of individuals, brandishing guns, doxing, all that stuff. That is all Twitch violations. And hey, why don't we talk about the newest one? Why don't we talk about the newest thing that Twitch has done that has seen other people get yeeted from the platform on multiple occasions? Animal abuse. Why don't we do this one all over again?
Because much more consequential violence. Okay? It's the same reason as to why America, Kaya, please just fucking go, just stop.
Animal abuse. Every time any other streamer has abused an animal, guess what? They get kicked off the platform. When it comes to every other clip, they are always the same. Hasan is a vile, vile person who has broken Twitch's TOS so many times. Yes, he is actually grounds to be removed from the platform on multiple occasions. Well, okay, you know what? I've just confirmed it. Copper is our latest example of Hasan Sims gone wild, where the proof's right there. The proof was just played out for them, laid out in full for them. And they say it's out of context. I even said that this was going to happen. So many people have already called that this is going to happen. Bro's already in denial. Yes, Hasan has called for death of individuals on more than one occasion, and it is grounds for being removed from Twitch. That is against TOS. If you want to talk about, hey, how many times has he doxed individuals, which is grounds for removal via Twitch's TOS. We can talk about animal abuse now, because that is in the grand scheme of things as of this point in time, grounds for removal on TOS. Multiple other streamers have all lost their entire platforms on Twitch for these exact reasons. Hey, that's not even scratching the surface. Brandishing a weapon on stream, which again, he has done. Grounds for removal on TOS. Playing terrorist propaganda, grounds for removal. Actually, playing terrorist propaganda in America is grounds to be put in prison. But hey, you want to call me the bait over here. You're the brainlet who believes everything Hasan does is good and justified. No, it's not. It's actually very wrong. But hey, I'll let you suckle at the teat of terrorist supporting Hasan. In my country, he would be in prison or dealt with by locals. Yep. Asmund got 2 weeks for nothing. Yeah, Asmund got 2 weeks for nothing. Tectone gets banned for calling somebody fat. You used to be a full-on Hasan hater. I don't believe you. I don't. Because quite frankly, there is no justification for any of the things that he has done. There is none. But hey, he says in a video game when he's calling for the death of landlords. Hey, America deserved 9/11, everybody. Again, another quote from Asmongold. Oh, not Asmongold, Hasan. That's my own bad. What did he say about, what was it? Congressman, the dude with the eye patch. Oh yeah, he was praising the terrorists that did bad things to his eye that caused him to lose his eye. Dan Crenshaw, that's the guy's name. Like, the list of things that Hasan has done is factual. Hey, why don't we talk about one that happened again not too long ago? I can easily look this one up because it's right there. Hasan. Rick Scott. Out of context, huh? Reminder, guys, this is all out of context. I could tell you guys the context for this one. This is them talking about Medicaid and Medicare fraud.
There's about $50 billion estimated that are lost every year in Medicaid, just in fraud alone.
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott, okay? You wouldn't make Rick Scott, former governor of Florida, Rick Scott, you wouldn't make him a prominent part of the Republican Party.
There's no context missing from this. He just went straight for it. But you guys always say that there's context missing. Yeah, every single time. It's, well, there's context missing. He's not this. What else do we have? I could pull up, so many clips of him just saying insane out-of-pocket shit. It's all right there. But hey, he never meant America deserved the death of 1,000. He literally said America deserved 9/11. He said America deserved 9/11. Hey, Copper, you can keep screaming in my chat all you want. Go on ahead. I'm going to quit acknowledging you until you start paying up. Okay? Got to pay up for me to start acknowledging you. I'll take $5 super chats from you in particular for me to start actually listening to you, because we got other things we got to do tonight, because we still got a big drama to tackle. We still got a big drama to tackle. So for this other thing that we are about to start tackling, while my Hasan simp in chat is screaming to the winds, we have a drama that actually is VTuber related, because for those of you who might not be aware of what I actually prefer to actually talk on and communicate on, I prefer to tackle VTubers at the end of the day, because I like VTuber content. I actually find them enjoyable. I find them entertaining. They are fun. They are clever, and they're that perfect level of chaos that I love so much. Okay, I love it so much. But there was a major VTuber drama that started up back in April, and it revolved around a VTuber by the name of Sinder. Now, back then you had individuals, Nanolus, Shy Lily, Bal VTuber. All three of these individuals came out of the woodworks. Well, not woodworks, that's actually kind of being not fair to them, but they all three came out and levied a serious accusation against Sinder, in which, well, Sinder was proven, in my personal opinion, to be a manipulator, to be a backstabber, and to treat her friends as nothing more than stepping stones. This all happened back in April. Yes, Sinder put out an apology, not just here, but also over here in a Google Doc all the way back in April. Now, this Google Doc is still relevant, but we'll be looking at this. Since then, Sinder kind of went bye-bye. Disappeared from the face of the earth. Not a whole lot of people wanted to actually talk about her anymore, and it was pretty much settled situation. You had so many VTubers come out here and actually point out, like, yeah, this We know that she was like this. We knew that she was like this. Shy Lily talked about it on streams. Several VTubers from throughout the community came out and said that this isn't that shocking. They condemned Sinder. They did it all. Well, randomly today, well, yesterday as of the time of recording this, Cinder's back. And she came back with a vengeance. And I'm going to be fair with this. Now, this is obviously going to be part one of this entire situation because you can see it right here from her tweet alone. The burden of proof is on the accuser, not the accused. They lied to you. Here's 1,000 pages of proof. So when it comes to me tackling this document, this is going to be done in parts because my God, 1,000 pages of all of this is going to take forever to get through. And she did segment this out into different chapters, more or less. So in this part here, I'm going to be trying to primarily tackle at least the first 2 to 3 chapters. Because I know the redacted chapter here is relatively quick and easy. Same with the apology section. But right now, we're just going to do these first 3. I'm going to try to get through Nanolus. I might stop at Nanolus for tonight. But we are going to be tackling this for the next couple of days. Because it is so huge, it's ridiculous. Out the gate, the first one is 5 pages. 5 pages so far. I do have this synopsis from Lumi right here. But the main reason I'm not utilizing the synopsises right now is just because they don't have like all the evidence shown here. It's just, hey, here's the accusations. Here's a general idea of what's being conveyed here. There's actual screenshots and stuff like that that's here as well. And by the way, shout out to you, Inky. Shout out to everybody that's heading out. Thank you guys for being here for the Hasan segment. We'll bring those back a little bit later. Don't worry. There'll always be a Hasan segment. But let's start this because it starts off with, hi everyone, it's been over 5 months since everything happened. Well, yeah, 6 months to be precise, maybe a little under 6 months. I have never been good with words, and I'm especially bad at verbalizing my feelings. I've always hid my insecurities, and it's hard for me to open up about things, even to the people closest to me. It was nearly 2 a.m. for me on April 26th when Nanolus and Bal posted their documents together. After I had finished streaming earlier in the night, I was awake for almost 48 hours by the time I posted my apology. Looking back at it, no, it wasn't good. Yeah, it was atrocious. And by the way, the more I read this, and again, I'm gonna try to be fair, but I've already read like the first 3 pages or so in my off time. It does kind of seem like she's trying to play the victim. Now, she does technically get the right to play the victim, but from what I've been seeing right now, I'm not seeing the evidence. Granted, again, I've only really scratched the surface on this. I haven't gone all the way through. Wasn't good. I was not in a sound state of mind when it was written. I was blindsided by any of this coming out and the accusations made against me. No one involved tried contacting me privately beforehand because, let's be real fair here, they believe that you were a manipulative individual. So, if we want to talk about this being a manipulative individual, they have no real right to actually even address you at all. They don't believe you. They don't trust you. So why would they ever actually come out and discuss anything with you? I was unable to eat, sleep, or do anything else, but watch more documents and statements be released while everything fell apart. I didn't have read, I didn't have my friends, but I had the weight of the entire internet waiting to see what I was going to say and how I was going to say it wrong. I didn't have access to search for all the evidence to defend myself with the growing list of allegations, and I didn't have time to put it all together cohesively anyways. So you know what you do, and again, I'm leveling these are fair criticisms I'm about to come out with. You don't answer 48 hours later. You answer when you have your mind all set because you handled this whole situation poorly. You don't go 48 hours and drop this tweet here and then this really awful Google Doc. You don't do this, okay? None of this is actually good. This is all atrocious to what you actually were supposed to do. So all that has already hurt you from jump. So now I'm going into this already seeing you as kind of a manipulative individual, not willing to take accountability or responsibility and willing to lie, because I don't think you're not lying again. I don't. But let's see this right here. No one involved tried to contact me privately. Yeah. I was unable to eat, sleep, or do anything else but watch more documents and statements being released. I already read that. I didn't have my friends, but I had the weight of the entire. I already read that. I didn't have access to search for all the evidence to defend myself with a growing list of allegations, and I didn't have time to put it all together cohesively. Already read that. I was petrified. How could I possibly respond correctly to a coordinated effort like this in the state I was in without just blindly accepting fault for all the things I didn't do or never knew happened? Well, you don't. Okay, again, you take the step back, you reassess, and you come back. The fact that you came out of the gate and made these bad statements, they don't help you. They don't look good. And I could say this all, being the armchair guy, dealing with this on the side. I'm not in your shoes at that period of time, but let's be honest, you should have pulled back. You should have waited, talked to Red, then put it all out together. That's what you should have done. I rushed to get something out, defend myself the best I could in the heat of the moment, and post it just so I could rest. No matter what I would end up saying, it would never have been good enough. It took me a long time to mentally recover and have the ability to face any of this again. I couldn't look anything Sinder related without breaking down. All of my fans looked up to me, were led to believe I was evil. I'm still kind of convinced that you are evil. And encouraged to destroy or donate my merch. I saw more people say that they should donate it. Don't burn it. Just get rid of it. Donate it. Almost everyone I knew or cared about turned on me in an instant, and anyone who's ever had anything to say about me did. I had only one of my close friends message me after everything was out there. I received rape, dox, and harm threats, which all these things, I condemn. Don't do it. Even I said, don't do it. It was a bad idea. You never go out there and do that. That's an atrocious thing to do. Why the heck would you ever actually go out there and do this? Don't do this. You're attacking her. Just leave her alone. She didn't deserve any of that stuff, so I can already say don't do that. But my reasoning, why I am going to also criticize her for pointing this out, feel like this is you trying to ingratiate us and say, hey, we've all seen this. This is what's been happening to me, kind of the victim card. I'm not trying to be a dick about this. I'm just trying to point this out because I'm calling balls and stripes and I'm trying to be impartial here. I'm not a fan of it, but I could also say it shouldn't have happened over these accusations. So I stepped away from the internet. I reconnected with Red and we worked things out between ourselves. When we were both ready to, he helped me with the long process of making this document. I didn't say almost anything else to anyone sooner, privately or publicly, because no one would believe me until I had absolutely everything put together to post all at once in one place. To be honest, I still don't think I fully believe you. Purpose of this document: to present the full story and the facts and evidence around what happened with complete transparency, defend myself against what's been said about me, and provide mine and Red's perspectives and motivations about each situation. It wasn't my choice to make this public, but since it is, my side of the story matters too. To take accountability for everything that each of us are guilty of in the past couple of years, whether they were revealed in the original document or not. This document will not absolve either of us of all wrongdoing, and it isn't trying to. Dispel rumors, misconceptions, and theories about me. Show how and why things actually occurred, and point out and refute discrepancies and lies in the claims or statements made against me. We've done things wrong, but the amount and degree of them has been incredibly exaggerated or completely made up. This document contains speculation. Baseless accusations were made against me without evidence, so I've kept speculation labeled as such in this document. Most of it is supported by circumstantial evidence, but it should not be treated as solid fact. So this is something I was also picking up on. The whole baseless accusations were made against me and everything like that. she's doing similar things throughout this. Now, I haven't looked at all the evidence, but from some of the synopsises I have been seeing, she's also utilizing, hearsay, baseless accusations, all sorts of stuff like that to go all around to try to make actual points here. But I haven't seen the actual evidence even going around. People are just saying it's proof that, Shiley lied or Nano lied or something like this. But without you having her brain, you can't make those statements outright. You don't know what they were feeling in those moments. So we'll see. Again, we're only going to go through parts of this right now because this is such a long doc. Contains speculation, baseless accusations. Yeah, speculation. So a lot of people are trying to say like the speculation on her side is okay because they did it, but they criticize the other side for also doing speculation. So if we're going to criticize one side for speculating, we have to criticize her for speculating. This document is not to fuel harassment, neither were the other ones, or spread hate towards anyone involved, neither were the other ones. I'm doing what listed above and posting this document in the same public setting the original documents were. If you have harassed anyone involved, in my defense, you are not my supporter, which there has been several individuals that have harassed individuals involved in this and have gone full-fledged attack mode on multiple occasions. So I am happy to see her say that. Your actions are reprehensible, and I've never advocated for anyone to do this for any reason. I'm sorry to anyone who's been affected by any actions or rogue community members against my principles. I've been made out to be a two-faced, greedy, jealous, psychopathic narcissist who's maliciously used stalker sabotage and betrayed those closest to me and anyone around me for my own gain for years, manipulating my way to the top like some kind of evil mastermind, which again, I kind of still agree with. You were lied to. There are things I've done wrong, but this image of me could not be further from reality. This was a complete public assassination of my character over what were lies and assumptions, followed by my cancellation and disappearance. Well, you were canceled. I can't say this, but your disappearance was solely on you. So you never had to disappear. Probably a smart idea to take some time off, don't get me wrong, but you never had to disappear. That was your own volition in which you disappeared. With my accusers profiting from it. If I was really the awful person I was made out to be, then this document wouldn't exist. I mean, yeah, it probably still would. Don't get me wrong, it probably still would. I wouldn't have any way to refute the claims made against me. No, you could have. You still could have tried. So yes, this document could still exist. I could have just continued streaming and profited from the drama and the over 30 million views this situation garnered. It has garnered a lot of views. I mean, there's people like, I think it's Kazahana. I always get his names wrong. He uses every excuse to always put Sinder in a thumbnail or talk about Sinder. So yes, there are individuals that did everything they could to milk the Sinder drama dry. So I'm not even going to deny about that. I've done it a few times too, to be fair. But like there's several people out there that have done this. And it gets annoying. That's why I hate the Sinder drama, because it's so fucking annoying. I could have let everyone forget about this and come back like nothing ever happened. But it's not true, and I couldn't allow myself to move on without making things right. Everything that comes out and stories that followed have been blown way out of proportion and turned into crazy conspiracies. Both Red and I have done wrong, and all that will be addressed here. But the story everyone was told was not the reality of what happened. Every single person I've ever interacted with in the past almost 5 years, even those closest to me, and every single interaction with them would have to have been fake for the story told about me to be true. Which, I mean, if you are a narcissist, that's easy to fake. And I'm trying to be faithful here. I'm trying to be good faith, and I'm trying to tackle this in a good faith manner and try to be unbiased. But like narcissists have fake interactions. They do. That's not out of the realm of reality. Like, you fake it till you make it, essentially. That's a fact. So it could be true that they were all fake. So to say that they would have to be fake, yes. That's why you're a narcissist. That's why people were calling you a narcissist. I believe that there were two people responsible for how things played out, with a third person merely having an axe to grind against someone they never liked. Nanolis lied overwhelmingly about what happened between her and Red, sat back and played everyone, including my friends. Shy Lily lied about me from the start, orchestrated things behind the scenes, and manipulated the public to their side. This is where I really start having problems, because you're going to need to lay a lot out, and I don't think this is going to be an attack vector you're going to want. Silvervale took the opportunity to lie about our interactions together, making things even worse for me. They had the most to gain from my cancellation, including their own satisfaction. None of them could take accountability for their own actions and pushed it all onto me instead. The only two people that could disprove their lies were just made into lying manipulators and wiped off the internet. You're gonna have to do a lot of legwork to try to come out here and say that Silvervale was lying about anything. You're gonna have to do a lot of work to try to act like all this stuff's kind of connected. Now, I know there's some people saying, well, no, Silver was just an opportunist here. You're gonna have to do a lot of legwork for this. When it comes to the Nanolis lies, like, there's a lot of people that have tried to say that Nanolis has been lying this entire time. And I'm going to be fair, okay? I have seen some of the evidence from her Nanolis stuff. Well, I haven't seen it, but I've seen, like, the synopsises. Doesn't look good for Nanolis. I'll be fully upfront with people. It doesn't look good for Nanolis right now. But I haven't seen the actual stuff. And when it comes to Shy Lily, again, utilizing the synopsises, not utilizing the evidence. This is where I am coming from with this. She has a lot of legwork to try to prove that Shy Lily lied about anything and orchestrated this whole thing. It wasn't acting like, hey, these are my friends being hurt right here. You're going to have to establish all this. And from what I've been seeing is it's a lot of hearsay and speculation on the part of Shy Lily. So, and you're right, Legendary Scrub. When it came to Silvervale, she was blindsided by all this. Like, all this stuff just came out of the blue, out of nowhere. She didn't know anything was going on. She didn't know she was being canceled. She didn't know she was being stopped from doing all this. She didn't realize she was being blacklisted or anything like that. It just magically happened. So you to try to say that Silvervale is a bad person and all this, you got a lot of legwork to try to prove on that front. I am trying to come at this as good faith, but to be fair, I am already biased. I read all the other things, and I've not had a positive interaction with a lot of the Sinder defenders at all. I think they've all been making bad arguments to defend Sinder, and I don't think it's all justified. So she's gonna have to do a lot of things. I will say, some of the stuff I've seen so far of Nanolis from some of the synopsises, they're not good. Like, they're not good on Nanolis's part. Shy Lily, from what I've seen, draws a lot of speculation. Silvervale, I haven't really seen any evidence of anything. Aside from the labeled speculation, everything represented in this document is true to the best of mine and Red's knowledge. I have nothing to hide, and there isn't a reason to hide anything anymore. The bulk of what's shown here was over the past 2+ years. Keep in mind that no matter who you are, opinions, thoughts, and feelings can change a lot over such a long period of time. For better or worse, I went back and forth on a lot of things to put in here, asking myself if I should leave them out for the people I still care for, or keep them in for my own sake. No matter what evidence is included in the document, it wouldn't be surprising if it's claimed that even with all the evidence, all of this is just me trying to lie, manipulate, and gaslight my way out of what happened, and that no one should possibly believe me again. Which, I mean, fair. Let's be fair, you have been painted as a manipulator, as a gaslighter, as a narcissistic individual. But also, like, a tactic that narcissists and people like that use is, here's a large chunk of information thrown at you all at once, sift through it, and piece it all together. Like a 1,000-page Google Doc. That isn't a manipulative, that is a manipulation tactic. That is a gaslighting tactic. Throwing out a 1,000-page Google Doc is a tactic like that. Now, I've seen people try to say, well, at the same time, throwing out multiple Google Docs all at once is a manipulation tactic, but the answer there is yes, they're both manipulation tactics. Who's going to be doing what, though, and how is the evidence all going to be pieced together? So yes, you are kind of a manipulator right here, and I'm taking that from this. Like a massive 1,000-page thing so far is not a good look. It's just not. Like, I had a problem when Adora put out 100+ Google Docky. That was insane right there. Now we have a 1,000-page Google Docky that's going to take several people hours to read through. It's insane. To show that I stand by everything written here and that I'm sorry for things I've done wrong, I made a very hard decision. I'm giving up my part ownership position of GamerSupps. I've worked so hard for them since December of 2022, and earning this position was one of the biggest accomplishments of my life. I'm honored they chose to give me an opportunity, and I've been immensely proud to have the title. As sad as I am to do this, I feel the need to protect the company I love, the people that work there, and everyone associated over my own interests. GamerSupps suffered a lot of damage when all the accusations were made about me, and that fell on my shoulders. Did they receive a lot of damage? Like, seriously, did they receive that much damage? Because I think they were not receiving that much damage. I think you were receiving damage. I think they were calling you GamerSupps to maybe drop you. I don't know if they were gonna do that. They were curious what GamerSupps was gonna end up doing, but I don't think GamerSupps received that much damage. In fact, since you've left, GamerSupps has been pretty good. I mean, even look at the V cards right now. V cards has been super successful without you. So I don't think they received that much damage at the end of the day. I think you were the one that received the damage, and now you're trying to say that GamerSupps received damage that I don't see any proof of. This is my responsibility as part owner, and I don't want any more harm or negativity to come to them by having this position. I wasn't really seeing them being that negatively impacted. I didn't have to do this, and I wasn't asked, forced, or coerced into making this decision. Okay. There are things more important to me than business. I notified them of my decision in June, and it will take effect at the same time this document is published. So, since June, they released another wave of V cards. You were still part owner. You probably still profited off of that. Okay. Like, when was the last, and I again, this is one of the reasons I'm also tackling this in parts, is because I'm trying to piece this all together, okay? I'm trying to piece this all together. When was the last V card drop? Last V card drop. V card drop. That would have been, okay, I have it right here. The last V card drop was August 15th of 2025. That was a massive V-card drop. There was a lot of individuals that got brought up in this V-card thing. A lot of new talents, a lot of new faces. They released the, I think it was the Platinum type. So there was a lot of things that were going on there. And I don't know. Here, I'm going to Google this. Do partial owners of GamerSupps receive financial benefits? Yes, partial owners of GamerSupps, such as content creators Simi and Shy Lily, do receive financial benefits because they became investors in the company. So with this last massive V-card drop, a lot of the money that they made here, you got financial benefits from. So you could say, well, I let go, like, it goes into effect now, but you already receive financial benefits. You've been receiving financial benefits from them. So it's okay. You're no longer, as of now, a partial owner. This all was negotiated out in June. This is October. So yes, you are going to take a pay cut. I'm not even going to deny that. You're going to take a pay cut, but that there's been some big drops since then. and you were receiving financial benefit from it. So it's not like insanely crazy to see that. Let's see this. Each tab in the document is about the people and events related to the claims made against me, where I've provided links to each person's respective statement for reference, the evidence, context, and mine and Red's thoughts around each situation. You're intended to read each section, and in the order they're presented, this document should be viewed in desktop and light mode for the formatting to appear correctly. Well, I don't know what mode I have it in right now because it's gray. Some information and screenshots appear in multiple sections for wherever it's relevant to the first few sections being Nanolis, Bal, V-Card, and Numi's concert, and Shy Lily culminate in a section breakdown what you've seen throughout them, with the last few sections of this document being standalone. Unless stated otherwise, every link in this document is working at the time this is posted. This document will not be edited after it's posted either, because we live in 2025. I need to say that this document was written without the use of AI. Okay, I understand some of the things in the document may be damaging to the people involved. They understood that their claims would be damaging to me before they publicly made them too. Everyone can review the evidence for themselves and decide what really happened, and if I really am the person you were led to believe me to be. The burden of proof is on the accuser, not the accused, which normally, yes, I would agree. Normally, I would agree, but at the same time, they brought out the claims. You are somewhat to refute them. That's how YouTube and the internet works. I hate to say this, okay? And I legitimately hate to say this because this is court of public opinion. Court of public opinion isn't the same as actual legal court. You could like it or hate it, but the court of public opinion, you are guilty until you prove yourself innocent. That's the saddest part about it. You have to do the legwork to prove yourself that all these claims against you are total BS. That is how this is all working out. And that doesn't make it right. That's not me saying that, hey, this is justified for all this to be going down this way. It is justifiable that you yourself now have to prove yourself innocent. No, that doesn't make it right. But that's how the system has been kind of set up. Even when it comes to cancellations and stuff like that, you're the one that has to actually kind of do the fighting here. So if your thing is, hey, burden of proof is on the accusers, not the accused, in a normal setting, yes. It's not how the court of public opinion works, and that's not how the internet works. It's the sad reality of it all. Until you can find a way to change the entirety of human race, it's not going to change anytime soon, because even with a lot of this stuff, like if you take this whole thing, burden of proof is on the accusers, not the accused, V Shoujo should be considered innocent right now. They're not. But let's go to, we did this part, let's go to the redacted section, which I'm going to be real honest with you. I'm not too keen with redacted assisting in this document, because I'm going to spoil this now. Part of this document is also her announcing her return to streaming. That's in the document. I don't know where it is, but people have already pointed out, like, hey, this is her announcement that she's also coming back to streaming. One of the things Sinder did put out there is that Red wasn't going to be assisting with her VTubing content or anything involving VTubing ever again. So the fact that Red's involved in this at all is kind of, it's not good to me. That is kind of scummy and sketchy, and I don't think is something you should be doing here. I think that's very bad, and I don't think that's a good look. She's battling the court of public opinion, not the court of law. People aren't going to care about the burden of proof. That's right. And that's what a lot of the Sinder defenders keep failing to remember. The court of public opinion is different than the court of law. That's not me justifying it or making it make sense or saying it's right or just that this is how it is. The court of public opinion is, sadly enough, you are guilty until you prove yourself innocent. That's just how it is. I mean, take a look at Takahata, for instance. The Takahata situation. All of his friends came out and said that he did something untoward with a girl and potentially forced, and several of them even said, like, he forced himself upon a girl. People just said that that's true. People ran with it and accused him of being a rapist until he came out and disproved the entire thing. That's not me saying that that's okay for that to be the case. That's not me saying, hey, it's justified for that to be how our system works right now when you're dealing with the court of public opinion. But that's what you have to deal with. It is reversed when you're dealing with this court. That doesn't make it fair. That doesn't make it just. That doesn't make it right. But that's the truth. I mean, take a look at Trump and Epstein. A lot of people are accusing Trump of doing untoward things with Epstein now. There's no proof to back it up, but the court of public opinion is kind of saying that it is true. Trump has to disprove that now. And I'm not taking this to a political setting. I'm pointing this out. Like, this is how the court of public opinion works. Doesn't make it right or just. It just means that's how it is. Humans aren't that way naturally. Redacted. Red helped me put this entire document together. We want to be upfront and honest that this was a two-person effort. His own commentary is presented throughout it and is labeled as his and highlighted in blue. Red. Hello, I'm Red. I'm Cinder's longtime partner, and have worked alongside her since she started this career. I helped her put this document together to set the record straight. Over the past few months, I've had to come to terms with being the reason why Cinder's image, her relationships, and her career were all ruined. I hurt people who were our friends. I effed up, and she had to answer to the world for it by herself. My actions ruined everything for her, and I'm taking responsibility and helping her pick up the pieces. I didn't want to put something out sooner without her that could have made things worse. I ask that you don't hold what I did against her. The problem there is you are acting as her actual manager. So your actions at that period of time do reflect onto her. It doesn't matter if you are... It doesn't matter if they were just solely your actions. They do reflect onto her. You two have, like, connectivity there. So that is something that has to be taken into account here. You're not just all like, hey, I'm completely separated from my manager. That's not how this works. And I know a bunch of Sinder defenders were out here saying, well, he's the boyfriend. He's doing everything. He's completely separated. You have no proof that they were together. It doesn't matter. You are her manager. Your actions reflect onto her. So yes, you need to take accountability for that. And she needs to acknowledge that your actions harmed her. So you acting, doing the whole trying to exclusivities, trying to cancel people, trying to do that still reflects onto her at the end of the day. Like, that's true. Red and I are still together. We had a falling out and spent time apart after the document dropped on April 26th. But he was still here for me when I was ready to talk to him again. We were able to work things out between us and forgive each other for what happened. I wasn't planning to say anything about this again publicly, but I felt I needed to. Years ago, I cheated on Red online for my own selfish reasons, and the things I said about him were out of my own frustration and past experiences. I made things sound much worse than they were at the time and mischaracterized the person he is. Red already knew that this happened way before it was made public in April, and no one else was ever told about it before then either. We addressed both of our problems in our relationship and moved past it a long time ago, yada, yada, yada. I don't really give a shit about the relationship and the cheating. But our relationship isn't toxic or abusive in any way. I would appreciate it if the speculation around it would stop. I mean, I would argue it is kind of toxic. I actually would kind of argue it's toxic, especially right here. It does seem like Red's willing to take the fall for you, and I'm not really fond of that. You guys should be coming out here and accepting responsibility together. Instead, Red just kind of took the fall. Even in this whole explanation right over here, you were blaming it all on Red. And again, some of the stuff that I've already read, you're kind of blaming it all on Red. So I would say that is kind of toxic right there. Like, you guys are supposed to be a partnership and a team right here, and you're saying it's all Red's fault. So yeah, that is kind of toxic in my opinion. Red and I have always had some level of communication problems, even with each other. Neither of us are good are good communicators beyond surface level. It's hard to open up, and we get in our own heads about things. Yada yada yada. We butt heads and disagree with each other. With each other sometimes. Okay, that's normal. And even more so, working together at working together all day, every day. It's gotten much better over the years, but it's never been perfect. So the idea that anyone in any relationship would know about and agree with everything their partner feels, says, or does is crazy to me. Yes, but the thing is that you guys were working together. You guys were working together. And even with this idea that you're putting out here, I could pull up the Buff Pup clip again. Buff Pup kind of pointed out that you guys were always kind of at each other's hips. You guys were always kind of communicating together. And there was other individuals that came out and openly said, like, hey, they were always talking about business and doing business deals together. So I don't believe this. I don't. I feel like you guys are trying to do the whole, well, we don't know for sure. You don't know everything that your partner's doing. You don't know all this stuff. I don't believe that. I'm sorry, I don't. You need to kind of prove that you guys really don't know each other that well. And even if you don't know each other that well, there's some weirdness going on here. It's gotten much better. Yeah. Feeling says it does to me is crazy. I'm not the only one who's ever had a significant other keep secrets from them, and neither is Red. Every relationship is different and has its own nuances, dynamics, and problems, functioning in a way that only two people involved know of and fully understand. So it's okay. So again, when I'm looking at this, Red was also acting as your manager. So you don't know what your manager's deals are behind the scenes, what your manager's doing with some of the content creators or some of the artists. You don't know what they're doing. You're just letting them go out and do stuff. That's bad business. That's atrocious business. You shouldn't be doing that. That's an awful idea that's actually what's going on, and that can end up hurting you in the long run. If that's the argument you want to be taking right here, and that you never knew anything, then you were doing a bad business deal to begin with. Which I don't believe. I'm sorry, I just don't. No one looking in can see otherwise. Because I cheated on Red. Should I assume that everyone's significant other has cheated on them in the past? No, I don't know where you're taking this. Should I assume that all of my friends' relationships are the same as mine? No, and for me to claim I know exactly how things work between any of them just because I'm their friend that sees them a few times a year is ridiculous. The thing is, though, like, people saw you guys multiple times a year. I wish I knew which stream this was from and which clip this was. I don't know if it was a Sinder clip, a Numi clip. It had to have been a Sinder clip. It had to have been a Sinder clip. Where Sinder was openly talking about going to a party for Numi and how Red was there and how they all were interacting with each other. It was more than just a few times a year that they saw each other. It was several times a year that they saw each other, interacted with each other. So to try to do the whole, like, hey, we only saw each other a few times a year, you guys saw each other a lot. It was more than a few times a year. You guys went on vacations together, hung out together, went on birthday parties together. It was more than a few times a year. It wasn't just at cons. When I became Sinder, we wanted to keep our relationship private and public. Red was simply, how many pages in are we? I have no idea. 7, I think. Red was simply my manager, and we hid our relationship from my friends for over a year during multiple trips. We agreed that I'd tell my closest friends about our relationship in March of 2024 because we felt we were close enough and trusted them enough to tell them. When we traveled, my friends saw us always close by each other and showing each other our work DMs on our phones. Almost all of the time from chats we were both in, instead of talking about things out loud to keep up with our projects while away. And to keep them private between us. So, wait. Let me reread that. When we traveled, my friends saw us always close by each other and showing each other our work DMs on our phones. Almost all the time from chats we were both in. Instead of talking about things out loud to keep up with projects while away and to keep them private between us. It's easier to say, look at this, to keep each other on the same page rather than have a verbal conversation while we're around other people at almost all times while away. What they saw at conversations or on vacations was all they saw. Only Red and I would have any idea how we worked together and acted around each other when at home. So I'm going to go back to something that Cinder defenders have been trying to point out here. And that she tried to use as a weapon as well. We don't know what's going on in our relationships. We don't know. You know, Red's running off all by himself. When we traveled, my friends saw us always close by each other and showing each other our work DMs on our phones. So, again, they see you guys always talking about work. They've said this on multiple occasions. You're even admitting that, hey, they're seeing us talk about work a lot, showing each other our work DMs on our phones. And then when you guys would go home, you guys would probably continue doing the exact same thing. So again, this goes back to the whole thing. I'm still believing that you knew what Red was doing. I'm sorry, I do. You're trying to use both arguments at the same time here. You're trying to use like, hey, you know, I had no idea what Red was doing all the time. Red was off gallivanting all by himself. Red was doing all this behind my back. I never knew what he was doing. But when we're together, hey, he's showing me his work DMs. You know, we're showing each other our DMs in public. We're doing all this stuff in public. You know, here's our work DMs. How am I not supposed to believe this? How am I supposed to believe that at the same time you didn't know what Red was doing, while simultaneously believing that you're okay just showing each other work DMs in public, while you're even admitting to that? You see the problem here? You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't admit to both things and say, hey, it's both true. I didn't know what he was doing, while at the same time we saw each other's work DMs constantly. While we were out in public, my friends saw us showing each other work DMs constantly. How can either of these things be true? You're either bad at communication about work, or you're constantly showing each other work DMs. Those two things can't be true at the same time. It's why this stuff doesn't make any sense to me. It's why I'm having so much trouble with the Cinder defenders and Cinder and all this. They're trying to do this whole thing of like, she couldn't have figured out, known what Red was doing, all while at the same time she's admitting like, hey, I saw the work DMs between Red. You had Buff Pup say, hey, they were always at each other's hip talking about work. You're even admitting to doing all that. But then you're trying to say, well, I didn't know for sure. I had no idea what he was doing. I had no idea. Even while I'm saying that, we were constantly translating work DMs. I can't square that circle. I can't. It doesn't make sense to me. I lived with Red and his family from the summer of 2022 to the end of February of 2025. So again, this was within the time period. All the Cinder defenders tried to say that they lived separately, that there's no way they could have had any of these communications, that no way that they knew that this was going on. They were living together. So again, that goes against the entire argument that's being laid out there. I have never outright told anyone this, including my closest friends. We wanted to keep at least part of our personal lives private from everyone. Even telling some people we lived apart. On stream, I've always said I lived with my family friends and streamed in a basement. The basement part is true. It's where I spent the majority of my time, and it's where I worked and streamed from. My career started there in 2021 with my ASMR. Red was the one with the PC, mic, and experience with content creation since it's always been his hobby. I would go there more and more often until I moved in when I became a full-time streamer. For most of my earliest streams with my PNG model, Red would be in the room with me, modding on a laptop and making sure things would run smoothly. He was there as my tech support since at the time I could barely play games, let alone understand how to use and fix OBS if something went wrong. I gotta be honest, how many times do people have OBS issues? Because I barely ever have OBS issues. We built my own PC, and I stopped needing him by my side by the time I debuted my first model in June 2022. He moved his PC into his own room and has worked from there since. Starting sometime last year, my stream kept disconnecting, and we couldn't figure out why. This was going on for months, and no matter what we did, it kept happening. We thought there could be something wrong with the internet there that could fix. So at least last resort, my parents and I made space for me to move back in with them with my entire stream set up in February. We were able to fix the problem, but it ended up having nothing to do with the internet at all. I've always been working and living here since separate from Red. That was February. That was February 2025. The accusations came out in, let's see, it would have been April. So February, March, April. 2 months later. 2 months later is when the accusations went out. You guys were living together for at least around 3 years. I'll say 3.5 years. You guys were living together. So to all the people that were saying there's no way that they could have known that they were living separately, they were living together for 3 years. She was only separated from Red for about 2 months. Big W, Cinder Defenders. The reason why I'm revealing all this now is because we could have easily gone through each other's DMs whenever we wanted in those 3 years, but we didn't. It's not like we never showed each other our messages directly. We did all the time, but we didn't comb through each other's DMs at the end of every day to read anything we may have said. And I don't know anyone who'd say that's normal to do. We would just tell each other things that happened, and that was that. I never felt the need to look over his shoulder to check on anything and everything he was saying and to who. We trusted each other, and he's always had my best interest in mind. You see, I'm going back to the point. You even admit that you guys were showing each other like work DMs. Cinder Defender's entire arguments were that they weren't living together, so how do we know that they could have been communicating about business? You're even admitting that you guys were communicating about business. You guys were talking all the time. All these arguments that I keep getting told over and over again, it's not adding up anymore. You yourself have admitted that, hey, we were showing each other work DMs constantly. While out in public, we were showing each other work DMs. Listen, behind the scenes, we lived together for 3+ years. You know, we only stopped living together in about 2022 or in 2025, 2 months before the first set of accusations actually came out. That's when we stopped living together and all that stuff. So yeah, there's no way we would have known completely what the other person was saying. That's not the accusation. The accusation is that you guys would have at least been talking about the business and business contracts, and that you would have known what Red was actually doing. That you would have been in touch with what Red was doing. And to sit here and say that, hey, we lived together, we were showing each other work DMs in public, but I had no idea what he was saying. I'm not believing that. I'm not believing that stuff, guys. I'm sorry. It's just not clicking in my head. Working together. I'm choosing to have Red continue working with me. I'm choosing to have Red continue working with me. He will be doing most of what he did for me before, but will not be doing any work-related communication for me in any channels I'm not also a part of. I now have access to his Discord account to check on things myself if I need to. It's clear to me that he learned his own lesson from what happened. Effective immediately, Redacted will no longer be managing or overseeing my VTuber activities. He no longer represents me as a creator, my brand, or my intentions. I'm sorry, everyone. I will make a larger response when able. Even when it came to, I believe this one, she said like, hey, he's not going to be working with me as a VTuber anymore, and now he's back. The problem child's back. But this time, to make sure nothing bad happens, I do have access to see everything he ever says. He made mistakes, and I forgive him. Okay, okay, you forgave him. You forgave him for the mistakes. That's good for you. I wouldn't be where I am without him, and he's just as much a part of Sinder as I am. He wasn't just a manager that handled some messages. He had a part in a lot of the things I did. He's always been the main creative mind behind my debuts and other releases too. Even with how involved he was, Red is still his own person with his own ideas, his own opinions, his own feelings towards people, his own goals, and his own ambitions, working under the same brand as me. He's always been the business sensible one out of us, and the work side of things was always his focus. Business sensible one. Got it. We worked together on almost everything, but we didn't agree on everything. They've been many I can't even read this. There have been many business or creative decisions we'd argue back and forth about, sometimes taking days to reach a compromise. Red didn't always consult me before making his own choice in his messages with our partners. A lot of the time, I agreed with what he did or said, and it was fine. But sometimes I didn't, and we either compromised or I had to walk back what he said. Red didn't tell me about every single interaction he had with people we worked with, and I didn't expect him to. I trusted him. There was no reason for him to not tell me something important. That was until we disagreed about one of my friends' bow. Hey, Kohlhauser, how are you doing? Red's one hell of a proxy, takes all the blame, yet somehow never causes any harm to Sinder. I mean, somehow, Red is both the problem and at the same time isn't the problem. And it's all Red's fault that this all blew up, and it's Red's fault that this is all happening, but at the same time, it's not all Red's fault. You see? And then even this, until it came, and that was until we disagreed with Bao. Listen, we were always talking together. We were always doing this. We were always doing that. I usually agreed with him, but then Bao happened. I'm sorry. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. It's nearly impossible for me to believe all this stuff is true. I need more evidence. And again, I'm only on like the second chapter of this entire evidence page, this 1,000-page doc. But you're going to have to do a lot of legwork for me to believe that you didn't know what Red was doing. And I'm not seeing that legwork. I'm seeing you just say that it's true and then walking away. Like, you're telling us that you guys were sharing work DMs in public. You communicated together in public. You talked business strategies out. You did all this stuff. You trusted him. And then magically one day he just quit like talking to you about these things. Magically. I don't believe it. At the start of this year, we moved a lot of our work-related conversations with various artists into a project server, so everything could be organized into one place. I could be included in discussions and decision making where I needed to be, and would be able to see everything being said without having to rely on Red to relay every detail of the things he was handling. This was for organization convenience, and so I could interact with every person working with me directly. However, this didn't mean Red didn't still use his DMs to do business or talk to people we were working with. Besides the allegations in Nano's document, no one ever else we've worked with. Besides the allegations in Nano's document, no one else we've worked with has ever complained about Red. And we've both worked with dozens of people who I believe would say their experience working with us was nothing but positive. Okay, but one person said that there was a problem. So it wasn't until Nano came out that people started saying, we had problems here. I mean, it wasn't. You can also take a look like, hey, Nano's saying this. but there was the bow editor that said that, hey, he had issues communicating with Red. There was the bow editor that came out and said that as well. So I'm not gonna say that, hey, everything's been peachy all the time. Like, oh my God, there's only been one problem. No, there was two. And if you're gonna take this stance that, again, you don't have any problem, Red's the problem child. Red's not the problem child. I see all of Red's DM. Me and Red share all the work DMs. Me and Red don't share all the work DMs. We do all this stuff all the time. If you're gonna take all this stuff, you're gonna have to do legwork to show this, but you're taking all the sides again. That's the problem I'm having with this, and believing that you didn't know what Red was doing. That's issues I'm having. Is that moth, or is that, yeah, that's that freaking moth that's been bothering me today. Like I said in my apology, there were things Red didn't tell me about or hid from me and did without me knowing in his DMs. They are all shown in this document in order below. I didn't know about these things beyond what I was told, if I was at all. That's a bad thing. He's your manager. You should know what your manager is doing at this point in time, especially if they're interacting as you on business. And you're just not good at business. That's a problem. Red's inclusion of Bao and Cotton in his exclusivity deal with Nano in January 2025. Red telling artist number one Bao was someone he considered competition while discussing exclusivity on the same day as his deal with Nano. Red's conversation with Nano about Shy Lily in April 2025. Red's conversation with mod number one about Silvervale throughout 2024 and into 2025. Red asking artist number two about not working with Silvervale in March 2025. Red's conversation with artist number one about Silvervale in April 2025, which artist number one told me about days later. You see, all these things here aren't good. He is doing this on the behalf of you as your manager. He is standing in there and doing this on the behalf of you, trying to give you the leg up. This hinders everybody. And when we go back to this first thing, guys, when we go back to like an overture response, she said, well, Silvervale just had an axe to grind and all this stuff. Red's out there trying to attack Silvervale. Why? Red's out here trying to attack Silvervale. So if Silvervale gets blindsided by all this, didn't know that all this was going on, and then now magically you're saying, well, I mean, Red was trying to kneecap Silvervale behind the scenes, acting as my manager. She has all the right to be pissed off with you. No getting around this. And then Red's conversations with Nano about Shy Lily, April 2025. Granted, this was when you guys weren't living together anymore. But if Nano sees that to Shy Lily, sees all these bad conversations about Shy Lily's gonna get pissed off about that stuff. So we could say, well, it was all Nano's fault, okay, before we even get into the Nano stuff. But the human brain would see, hey, Nano brings Shy Lily all this information that your manager's doing behind your back. It would make sense that they would get angry. And thank you for the subscription, Cole Hauser. I greatly appreciate it. The names of artist number one, artist number two, and mod number one are hidden to protect their privacy since they weren't directly involved in everything that happened in April. They will be reintroduced later in this document. Okay. Falling out. The night the first document were posted, Red was here with me. I ended my stream and he came over to see me while we worked on a few things together. We were still awake when Nano and Bao posted their documents at almost 2 a.m. EST. So, okay, so you guys live close enough together in order for you guys to actually be able to interact with each other on a day-to-day basis. Might not be living together, but he can easily just come over whenever he wants. Got it. And thank you again, Cole Hauser. I greatly appreciate it, brother. We were still awake, or got that. The documents were at almost 2 a.m. EST. I didn't understand what was going on and started panicking. Red tried to explain what happened, but I blew up at him and kicked him out, regrettably refusing his help. We weren't in contact for almost a month. Well, to be fair, again, if he's the problem child, if he's the bad guy here, if he's the one that, you know, went out there, caused a bunch of shit, and then this all blew up in your face, yes! refusing his help probably would have been the smart idea, but apparently not. It's a good idea and the bad idea all at the same time. All this, I'm so shocked that, hey, regrettably refusing his help. He's the one that was causing these issues. I'm sorry. Contact for almost a month. Well, I had one close friend reach out to me after things were public, and I responded to them sometime after Red was gone. I chose not to include their own message here. I'm curious what their message was. If we're trying to be honest, if we're trying to show everything, show all the context, I'm curious what the message was. I'm so sorry, blank. I'm trying to collect myself. Red and I aren't speaking right now, and I'm so upset with everything. I was distraught, and I posted that Red was fired later that morning. I wasn't trying to throw him under the bus, yes you were, and avoid accountability. I was blindsided by my friends publicly pointing the finger at me for his words and actions I didn't even know about, and I didn't agree with. I didn't know what else to do. So he did the thing. I fired him because he did the thing. I don't agree with him doing the thing, but I should have kept him around. I don't. And now they're back together still, and he's working for her. Definitely not a toxic relationship. Yep, definitely not. In my apology, I said, as of yesterday, he's no longer working with me, and I have not extensively discussed any of this with him. Because Red will continue working with me, I will be deleting this tweet sometime after posting this document. I will be keeping this tweet, because if you're going to delete this tweet, this is you... I'm going to say this is you fucking up. You should not keep him around to work with you. You shouldn't. That's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. If he did it once, what's stopping him from doing it again? Seriously, just because you can view it, if he does it again and you can view it, you're really going to be dragged through the mud then. It's going to be serious that time if he does it again. This is all dangerous stuff and you shouldn't be doing this. I'm sorry. And now you're deleting the tweet. So that's great. That's great. My apology and taking accountability. By the way, she was 100% throwing Red under the bus there. 100%. I'm not going to sit here and say that she wasn't. She was trying to throw him under the bus. It's even in the apology. It's even in the apology doc right here that now I'm scared she's going to delete as well. My apology and taking accountability. Now that I've reviewed everything that happened and had time to reflect on my own actions, there are some details I need to point out and corrections I need to make from my apology. Then I'll go over the things Red or I or both of us did wrong so we can take responsibility. Each section after this will explain the full story around each major individual involved, anything Red and I did, and defending ourselves against everything we didn't do. Quotes from my apology will be present throughout this document to show what they were in reference to. Screenshots that are directly of or taken from another document are highlighted with an orange border. Dates and important messages with any screenshot are highlighted in yellow. Quotes from my apology are highlighted in gray. Red zone comments on anything being presented are labeled and highlighted in blue. Good for you. How many? 16! My apology for reference, which I already have up. The things I claimed and admitted to in my apology were based on what I knew at the time, what was published in everyone else's documents, and what Red told me right after I shut him out when I shouldn't have. I made my apology without his help, without all of the info in front of me, and without knowing the full scope of what happened, how it happened, or what to believe. So right now you're kind of retracting that massive apology that you kind of admitted to doing some really shitty stuff in. Okay. I was under extreme stress and pressure to say something as soon as I could. Well, that's your own fault. And was expected to accept fault for everything I was accused of. No. You're expected to explain what was being accused here, not accept fault. That's your own fault there, but not guilty of doing. again, you really haven't shown that you weren't guilty, but again, this is court of public opinion, not the legal court system. Completely different stuff. Some of the things I wrote were overly apologetic, and I made things sound worse than they actually were because of the severity of the situation. The main takeaway people had from my apology was that I pushed everything onto Red and didn't take accountability for anything myself, which is true. What I blamed Red for in my apology, because he was guilty of doing them, him telling me how great it would be to work together with Silvervale, him holding the grudge against Bao. Well, no. It was also you pointing out that, wait, what I blamed Red for in my apology when I was also guilty. Red was the one with the business-oriented outlook of things from the start. I adopted the same mindset from working together as time went on. I wrongly made it sound like I was brainwashed into thinking this was my apology. So again, these are all things that he did. So these are the things that he did that he is guilty of. What Red was guilty of in my apology that I didn't know about until writing it. Red and Nano ever talking about the model for Geary in November 2023. Red including Bao and Cotton in his conversation, an eventual deal with Nano around exclusivity in January of 2025, and bad-mouthing Bao in their DMs as if they were our shared feelings. Red talking to Nano about Shy Lily and her model in April 2025. So he did do all these things. Okay. Things I said about Red in my apology that I was wrong about. He did not manipulate Nano. He did not push Nano to not work with Silvervale, and she was not a constant topic between them. I mean, I don't have the DMs pulled up, but I think it was you that was the one that was saying that I would appreciate you not working with Silvervale, not him. So, okay. Things I took accountability for in my apology. Agreeing with Red to talk with Nano about exclusivity, agreeing specifically name Silvervale in the terms, and knowing a deal involving her was made. So again, Silvervale being cut out, you would have known about. You would have discussed this. You were a part of that decision. So again, I don't see where Silvervale should be like bad. Again, I haven't gotten to the Silvervale stuff, but I'm just seeing like you're admitting that you were trying to kneecap Silvervale. Guilt tripping Nano. Feeling overly attached to Nano and her work. Not knowing about what Red had said about Bao to Nano when I should have. Not speaking to Bao about Red's feelings towards her and letting it spiral to the point it did. Being upset and taking it personally when Bao hired my video editor. Being upset when Sakamore told us he wouldn't be working with us again. Confiding in Red about Shy Lily's behavior towards me, becoming resentful towards Silvervale, letting my insecurities and public comments influence my feelings towards Silvervale, assuming Spite copied me, being very possessive of my design details early on in my career, overreacting to Nana Tails Hellhound OC design, which was apologized for in the past, cheating on my boyfriend, neglecting or leaving behind friends of mine. So again, that was kind of like the core details of like the nano docs and everything. It was like the things that you're saying that you took accountability for. Is it all true? I guess is where we're getting to. Like, is what you took accountability for in your document, is all this stuff true? Is it actually things that you like agree with? Like, yes, I did do all this stuff, but is that what we're gonna get to? I admitted to the I'm surprised she didn't blame Red for her cheating. Technically, she did blame Red for her cheating when she was cheating on Red, but now she's taking accountability for cheating on Red. So I could give her credit where credit's due. I admitted to the world that I cheated on my secret boyfriend, and the story pushed was that I took no accountability and used him as a scapegoat. Even with all these concessions of what I did do, I was still somehow a narcissist who couldn't accept fault. What I did was not admit to the right things the people making these claims already decided I was guilty of. They also expected me to apologize for everything I've ever done without any of it ever being mentioned, even if the matter was already settled in the past. Well, the thing was, you can come over here. There's nothing I can say. Redacted has been my co-content creator since I began making content, managing all aspects of what I do and being a major part of why I'm here. We have also been in a relationship since the start of my endeavors. It's no secret that my VTuber chose, as of yesterday, he's no longer working with me, and I have not extensively discussed any of this with him. Where our personal situation goes from here, yeah. I want everyone to know I'm taking this seriously. After years of working on everything together, this hyper business oriented outlook warped my view of what it is I should be doing and what should be important to me as I navigate this career path. I have a terrible work-life balance, as it is the being around projects and streams all day, every day, made me lose sight of the point. It took off, like, all this stuff was you saying the reason I look this way was because of Red. Red's the one that gave me this bad work-life experience. So that is you actually throwing Red under the bus. You weren't taking the accountability for it. So that is a fact statement. You were throwing Red under the bus. You actually were. You could say, well, like, I agreed to all of this stuff, but I took accountability and apologized for all this stuff, but I wasn't throwing Red under the bus. But you start off by saying, I have this mentality because of Red. That is Red being thrown under the bus there. Like, that's just flat out what it was. You can say, well, I wasn't throwing him under the bus. Look at all the things I took accountability for, but the reason you took accountability for these things was because out the gate you say that Red's the reason you have this mentality. Red is the problem. It's Red's fault I view the world this way. That is throwing Red under the bus. That's just true. Guilty. Yeah. I understand that the things my manager did that I didn't know about are ultimately my responsibility. That's true. Again, this is all fucking true. It's still your responsibility. That's something that people keep forgetting about. What he did behind your back is still your responsibility. And if he did it behind your back, that still reflects bad on you, but nobody wants to accept that. And my ignorance doesn't change that. I should have taken more care to check up on what he was saying and doing, but I was being blamed publicly for things I had nothing to do with. My accusers went out of their way to claim Sinder did this and Sinder said that, completely disregarding Red's agency from any of his own words and actions. The problem is he's working as you in that period of time. He is your manager. He is representing you. So yes, that is true. The proof I must have known about everything he's ever said and done was because they said we worked on things together on our phones during the few times a year we were traveling. And Nano's documents showed 2 of my screenshots from over a year apart from separate situations where I knew more or less what had happened between her and Red. So because we talked a lot in public, people saw us always communicating in public about projects, and because Nanoless showed us information that I knew that they were talking about, these projects that I knew about, people assumed that I knew what he was talking about. Yes, logically. That's the logical leap, that you would be aware of what's going on there. You would 100% be aware of this. And you even admit to knowing some of these business things. Not everything, but some of these things. So the idea that you didn't know about this stuff is mind-bogglingly stupid. You'd have to sit here and tell me, I know about all this. I accept that I know about all this, but this little bit over here, I don't know about. We talk constantly about business in public, in front of our friends all the time, but this little bit I didn't know about. I don't believe you. I'm sorry, I don't. I no matter how many times you say I didn't know what Red was doing, I don't believe you. And it still feels like you're trying to do this whole, like, well, you can't prove that I knew kind of bullshit, while simultaneously admitting that you guys lived together, while admitting that you guys constantly talked about projects together, talked about work DMs in public, showed each other work DMs all the time. You guys were talking about business. You guys always had these communications. You can sit there and say, well, we weren't good at communicating, but we were constantly doing all this stuff. I can't believe this is a circle and you're trying to get me to square it. I can't see that. I have to believe two completely different realities all at the same time. Like, consider me and Gal, okay? Me and Gal aren't in a relationship, but Gal helps me out with Ballbusters. She's my producer, all this stuff. I'm bad at communicating with Gal. 100%. Gal will come out here and say, yeah, I'm bad at communicating with her. I'm atrocious at telling her plans and stuff like this, and atrocious at informing her what the next guest is, and she has a calendar set up and everything. Gal will come out here and fully admit that as well, that I'm atrocious at telling her business plans. That's why if I ever do something on a business level that screws somebody else over, I will take accountability for it because I don't tell anybody else what my business plans are. If I had Gal closer in line with me and had Gal doing a whole lot other stuff, I would say that there's a higher likelihood that I did tell her about this stuff. There is a higher likelihood. So you're sitting here saying that we talk a lot about business. We talk a lot about these decisions. We talk a lot about this stuff. He's working as my manager. He's representing me as my manager. We talk a lot about these deals. We do it in public. We do all this stuff. Nanolis has information about me even knowing about some of the deals that are going through. But I didn't know about these few little deals. No, I don't believe it. I don't. There was no other evidence presented for their claim, but they told everyone it's absolutely had to be this way. Emphasis was placed on Red's usage of we and our, as if they could know for a fact that it meant Red was always speaking with me, my knowledge, approval, and oversight every single time he said it. This was necessary for their narrative to work against me. This you see, here's the problem though. You've already stated that you guys communicate like this. You guys know what some of the things are doing. So if he's represented you, this would be what he should say. He is representing you in this motion. So yes, he would say we or our. You're one and the same. He is your manager in that moment. That makes sense. This is what I said in my apology about this. I do not condone anything about what Red said about Bao and these DMs either. And him using we and our in this context is abhorrently incorrect and I believe was done to gain greater credibility behind what he was saying. And I don't disagree, actually. I don't. I have always been more or less the creative lead on things we did. This is from Red, by the way. Like model designs, project ideas, and art in general. And Sinder often agreed with me, with my creative judgment. She trusted me to do the communication I did for her without oversight. For example, a lot of times I would be the one talking to the artist we were working with, who only knew me as Sinder's manager. If I knew the direction I wanted to take something with or without talking to Sinder beforehand, and I said, I want this art to be like this, instead of Sinder wants this art to be like this, then it felt like an awkward thing for me to say. In my mind, to the person we're working with, I'm just the manager, not the creator, not the streamer, not the client. What I myself wanted wasn't important. What Sinder wanted was. So in order to give weight to what I would say, I started using we early on without speaking with her directly, saying, Sinder, if we wanted to do something a certain way, then it'd give me agency by implying that we both agreed on and made the decision. That Sinder was aware of the decision being made, regardless of if she actually was or wasn't at the time, and that my words had meaning. And you're bringing him back to work with you. He's utilizing your name. He's utilizing all this stuff to purposely give weight to what he's saying. That's not good. That's bad. That's very bad. and he's coming back to work with you. That good idea. As we're aware of the decision being made, regardless of if she actually was or wasn't at the time, and that my word had meaning. I was speaking on we, the brand's behalf. It became a habit of mine to talk this way regarding any project or business dealings. I didn't start doing this because anyone told me I should be. I didn't speak like this all the time or in every single message. It's not like Sinder never knew about what I was saying when saying we. If afterwards she did disagree with me on something, then I'd have to walk back what I said and saying that Sinder actually wants it this way. For example, very often Sinder was on the same page as me beforehand or would agree with what I said without her knowledge, using we afterwards. So what you're saying is I would go out there saying we, our, her, all this stuff, like utilizing her name as power. And I would go to her to get her approval. And if she said no, I would walk it back. So do we actually have confirmation at all that Red never went to Sinder about what he was talking with Nano about? Do we ever have any confirmation about that? Because if not, then he never walked it back. So I would have to say that she probably agrees. In the case of the exclusivity deal with Nano, I used we when talking about Bao. So it seemed like Sinder also backed how I felt. Sinder not only wasn't aware of this, but I knew she didn't agree with me about what I was saying. Okay, so then he's a bad manager and you shouldn't be bringing him back. In our conversation, Nano said herself that she was not really down with working with people who Sinder didn't want her. So you're admitting to manipulating Nano. You're admitting to it. Congratulations. So I made sure to tell Nano how we felt, expressing my own feelings to her as if they were both ours. This will all be shown in Nano's section. There are 3 things in my apology I need to correct that will be shown in full detail in this document. Missing information, lies, and inaccurate statements in my apology. I left out a lot of information regarding my experience with Silvervale and trying to overly apologize to her, and ended up making things sound much worse than what really happened. I lied about not knowing that Red spoke to Nano about Spite in 2023 to not make things worse for myself by revealing more than Nano or Spite did about what happened regarding her. Wait. And this is making me like you. I was wrong about which year the situation with Nyanna Tails took place in. I wrote that it was after my debut, but it was actually an entire year earlier. Okay, that one, I'll give her credit. I will concede this notion to give her a little pass. Getting a year wrong here or there, I'm not going to criticize. You know, like something like this one here, I'm not going to be that freaked out about, because I also don't remember the Nyan Tails one at all. I don't remember what was going on with Nyan Tails. I'll give her a slide on that one, because if you misstate like a year, like an actual date, thinking, wait, didn't this happen this time and not this time? I'll give you a little bit of a pass there. I'll give you leeway there. Okay, I'll accept that one. Even I'll say, hey, I forget when, like, hey, you know, like, when did Ballbuster start compared to when Roundtable started, or stuff like that? Like, that's a bad example, but you get my point here. Like, when did this start compared to this starting? When did this start compared to that starting? I'll give you a pass. I'll give you a pass there. Like, something like that isn't, I think, that drastic. I think it is scummy, but I'll give you credit there. My apology and the accusations made against me did not cover everything Red and I have done wrong. I've laid out everything below that will be presented throughout this document so we can address them and take responsibility. Explaining the motives and reasoning behind our actions are not meant to justify or diminish them or the feeling of those affected, but to understand why they happened. Oh, Lord. How long? Oh my God, I'm only halfway through this one. We're going to finish this one up and probably call it a night. I don't even know if I can finish this one up. I'm going to try to finish this passage of the document up. Everything one of us or both of us are guilty of that accountability is taken for and shown in this document in order they're presented in. We both became neglectful of many friendships and personal relationships online and IRL. Red and I became consumed by our work and prioritized my career over all else. Red considered everyone, including our friends, competition to some degree, and I agreed. So again, that whole notion right there is still sticking around. Red and I left Tricky at our hotel in Tokyo one day during our Japan trip in October 24, which even she admitted to, like that was fucked up. I chose to distance myself from Cotton after what happened between her and a friend. I tried going back on my agreement with the artist Nixiu in April 2025. Red asked Nano to not work with Spite in January 2023 and told me about it afterwards. I lied about not knowing he spoke to her about Spite in my apology to avoid talking about it. So you oh God, fuck. Like, I can get, a lot of people are giving her credit right now for coming out here and admitting to all these things that I did wrong. To showing off like, hey, I fucked up at all this stuff. Now we're gonna tackle you. I don't think this is as good of a look as you think it is. I think this actually does hurt you a whole lot more, and I think this doesn't look as good as you want it to look. Okay, not knowing his about, yeah. Red initially dissuaded Nano from accepting a model from Geary in November of 2023. So you admit to you know, God damn, you admit to kind of kneecapping your friends. I guilt tripped Nano in November of 2023 and February 2025, but still sided with her. So you were trying to manipulate her. Got it. Red reassured Nano about her considering and canceling Bao's model in August of 2024, which you would have known about 100%, and you could have stopped. I knew Bao's model was canceled in August of 2024 and didn't try to do anything about it. Like these are the things that are still sticking with you. You're not going to be getting away, and you're admitting to, which I can give credit for, but these are the things like the Sinder defenders, they never wanted to bring up that you knew about this and you never tried to stop it. You would have known, like she had to have known. So if you knew about all this stuff, you would have known that Red was doing stuff behind the scenes. You can't act like you didn't know this stuff was going on. You could have stopped this at any time, but you chose not to. Red and I agreed to talk with Nano about exclusivity, including not to work with Silverveil specifically on any more models in January of 2025. So you admit to kneecapping Silverveil. She getting blindsided. She has all the right to be angry with you. Same with Bao. Kind of same with Shy Lily, the more I see about this. Like, I'm not seeing where all the bad stuff is. Red and Nano agreed to deal... Red and Nano agreed to deal for her not to work with Silver, Bao, or Cotton in January 2025, only telling me about Silverveil's inclusion. I don't fully agree. I don't believe you. I'm not believing you. But I will say is like, you agreed with this. You agreed with this. You agreed with some of the stuff. So you would have ended up being angry. And also you live with him in January 2025. So I don't believe that you didn't know some of this stuff going on. Red spoke to Nano about Shy Lily in April of 2025 after seeing Nano work on a model for her and this conversation, which that model is sleek, by the way. We asked our video editor about exclusivity after Bao started working with them in September of 2023. Red convinced himself Bao gatekeeping her video editor to hurt our future music video project in December of 2024, then held a grudge and list of grievances against her. I didn't speak to Belle to clear things up about what I knew Red held against her, and it led to me being an awful friend to her for months at the start of 2025. Both Red and I mismanaged the planning and communication with Numi about her concert at the start of February 2025. I pulled out of performing in her show and almost didn't go after choosing business over my friend. So again, like that stuff is she's admitting to, which I could give her credit for. She's admitting to all the stuff that was holding over her. Like these were the bad things that happened, and that people did say, "Hey, you fucked up royally." And you're admitting to doing it. So you are taking accountability, but it's still kind of like, hey, we were right. We both grew to dislike Silvervale over the past few years for various reasons, including harassment and comparisons, my own insecurities, and how Silvervale acted towards me. Well, when we take into account how Silvervale was acting towards you, again, you have a section, I think, dedicated towards her. Yeah, you do. She was saying, like, you were bothering her. That's why she was acting that way. Red asked an artist not to work with Silvervale in March of 2025 and never told me about it. Red and I assumed Spite was copying me in 2022 and early 2023. I overreacted to Nana Tails' Hellhound OC design in 2021. Okay. Okay, so you still admit to being awful. Got it. Every claim of wrongdoing that was made against Red or I that isn't listed above is not true, whether it was an assumption or a lie in someone's document statement about me or verbally on stream. I would list the false accusations here, but there's been such ridiculous amounts at this point that I don't know where to start. I will let this document speak for itself. So when I'm looking through this, for the most part, this is everything that I'm well aware of. Like, all this stuff is stuff that I've known about. And, like, the things are, like, I don't believe you didn't know some of this stuff. I don't believe. I don't believe Red was the sole focus here. I believe that you were agreeing with Red on a lot of this stuff. That's where I'm coming from with all this stuff. And I'm not really seeing you fully distance yourself from that notion. I'm seeing you kind of dancing around like, hey, I might have known, I might not have known. That's kind of how I'm seeing this right now. When it comes to some of the other accusations that I've been what people have talked about is the exclusivity deal, which you are admitting to happened. You are talking about the Bowel deal, which again, you knew happened, and you could have stopped it, but you chose not to. The Silvervale screwing around, you're kind of also admitting to that. Cottontail, a lot of the stuff that I've brought up, you're admitting to, and this is a lot of the things like even Shiloh's pointed out, like, hey, she did this. She was manipulative. I'm not seeing. There was one person, a past friend, like they're admitting to, hey, we neglected past friends and stuff like that. That past friend was saying, yeah, you were using us as stepping stones and got rid of us the moment you got famous. That's what that past friend was saying, kind of agreeing with what everybody else was pointing out. So I'm still not seeing, like, where's the thing that they went overboard with or over bounds? Like, you were being manipulative, caring about your business first, willing to cut people down. I'm seeing all that. So what? And people are saying, like, we were lied to, that she did something that we were lied to. I'm not seeing where we were lied to about anything. Like, you're admitting that a lot of the accusations were true. Wrongdoing in some document. I will let this document speak for itself. These actions were not over years like the public was told. The majority of these actions happened in 8-month span from August 2024 to April 2025. Actually, no. Even you say, like, a lot of the stuff started in 2022. There was something here that I believe you pointed out started in 2021 even. Yeah, right here. Overreacted to Nano's tail in 2021. So yes, this would have been a multiple year thing. Like, even you're admitting that some of the stuff started like 2021, 2022. So you can't come out here and say, like, a lot of, this wasn't a multi-year thing, but you just admitted that it was. You just admitted, like, you overreacted to Nano Tails in 2021. Red and I assumed Spite was copying me in 2022 and 2023. Like, this was a years-long thing. You can't act like it wasn't. How each person was affected, if they were affected at all, is explained throughout this document. Nothing was black and white, and none of these actions were motivated by jealousy, envy, greed, or being malicious for the sake of it. Jealousy, envy, or greed. I mean, you even admit that Red had a grudge against Bao for jealousy reasons. So again, that is kind of not true. Greed, I'm going to disagree there too. Envy, yeah, I would also say that because you were assuming Spite was copying you, which is kind of envy. Not envious, but kind of, that's kind of petty. You know, like there is like jealousy, envy, and greed here. There is. So, like, isn't jealousy and envy the same word? My brain's doing a fry right now. Yeah, jealousy and envy are the same. So it would be none of the, by envy or greed. Envy, greed, or being malicious, not jealousy or envy. Because envy and jealousy are the same word. My friends, it's been falsely claimed that I was using, manipulating, sabotaging, betraying, or backstabbing all of my friends for years in an effort to deplatform them. Where was the deplatforming coming from? I never saw that one. I never saw them say that you were trying to deplatform them. I was seeing them say that you wanted to get a leg up over them and be better than them. That's where I was seeing that. I never saw the deplatforming thing come out. And ruin their careers. I mean, to ruin their careers, I mean, Bao's model. Come on. You even admit to the Silverveil stuff. There was the Cottontail. Like, some of that is true. You were, like, you guys were. You're trying to do the me, as Cinder, me. But the both of you together were trying to manipulate and sabotage people's careers. Like, that's true. Even when it comes to Silverveil, you were trying to get Silverveil to, like, get cut off. You were trying to kneecap her. So to say that you weren't is a lie. There was never some kind of year-long grand conspiracy of deceit against anyone. I've never actually heard any sort of claim for that. I just heard you always viewing your friends as competition. And I have never pushed the ladder down behind me. But I assume Spite was copying me for me in 2022 and early 2023. Behind me, where was it? Yeah, me. I have never been jealous or envious. Again, those are the same words. Of any of my friends or anyone else. I don't believe you. Silverveil. Just point in contention, Silverveil. My friends were not stepping stones I used to further myself. I love my friends. Our experiences together were real. Our memories together are real. It hurts that I even need to say that here. I mean, I don't blame them for not thinking that it was. There are plenty of things my friends know I've done for them, helped them with, or included them in for no other reason than that they were my friends. I've always answered the questions and offered them advice when they asked. Done my best to be there and support them at their debuts with their own endeavors. And I've personally bought so much of their merch for myself without ever saying so. I literally bought brownies. I literally brought brownies my mom made across the country to share with them. I spent my own time making one-of-a-kind cosplay pieces of their VTubers for them for no other reason than that they were my friends. More than the three finished pieces below were planned for more of my friends, including Bao, before I put all my crafting focus into my Nihilister cosplay. It meant a lot to me that I could make things that meant a lot to them. But here's the thing. That's nice that you still viewed them as a friend. Okay, that is nice that you still viewed them, that you cared about them. But you have to take a look at what their point of view was. Even when it comes to Shy Lily, like, I still haven't seen you, like, the evidence against Shy Lily or Nano, but you are admitting that you were kind of being manipulative. You are admitting that you were treating, like, Red, for instance, was treating your friends as competition. And wasn't it even you? And I correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Like, even looking up at this, there's a lot here. I do believe you even admit that you were viewing your friends kind of as competition as well. So you could say you loved them, that's great, but you were starting to view them as competition, which isn't good. Like, again, a lot of this stuff is still at you, and this feels like you're trying to be like conflating things that aren't even true. Like the deplatforming thing, I've never heard anybody say that you were trying to deplatform people. Heard you trying to cut people down, which you even kind of admit to with the Spites and Nanotales, which I don't even remember the Nanotales thing. So you can't kind of admit to that. When it comes to this idea of being jealous or envious or whatever, I mean, the Silverveil stuff, haven't got to it here, but when you were apologizing for it, it did sound like you were spiteful, you were envious, you were jealous of her success. So, and then when it comes to a lot of the stuff, it feels like you're trying to take a straw man approach to everything that Cinder defenders do like to try to use, is that there's no evidence of a year-long campaign. No, nobody was trying to say that there was a year-long campaign. They were just trying to say her mentality was kind of toxic. Her way of approaching things was awful, and how she viewed her friends at the end of the day as competitions and stepping stones, because that is kind of how it viewed it. And you're kind of admitting that you kind of did view your friends as competition. You're saying you never viewed them as stepping stones, but it kind of looks like you were viewing them as stepping stones. That's actually kind of cool. Tricky. Yuzu. I don't know whose knife that would be. I don't know what they think I did against them other than what I listed above, or where these ideas came from, or what rumors they were hearing about me, or how my friends collectively agreed this must have been the case after everything we've done and shared with each other. I absolutely could have been a much better friend, but I just can't believe every single one of them thought this little of me at a moment's notice. There were about a dozen of my friends involved before Nano's document was posted, and still not one of them said anything to me before they were posted publicly. I mean, the Bao thing really did hurt. Like, the Bao thing hurt them. And you even admitted, like, you knew her thing got canceled and you didn't try to stop it. Like, that's kind of why they started turning on you, is you did treat Bao with disrespect. You should have been able to know this. You knew the Nano model was coming. You knew this was going on. You knew Nano was like tied to you in some way, and you even tried to do the exclusivity deal. You could have been the real friend there and been like, hey, I'm going to go out here and stop this. And then when it came to like the red chats, when they saw the red chats, that hurt them, because the whole our stuff, that all that hurt them, because it made it look like you didn't care about them at all. Like they were stepping stones. So you can come out here and say, well, they have this wrong mentality, but you're admitting that they kind of had the right mentality at the same time. Should they have come out to talk to you? I don't know if they should have. And I'm saying this mainly because if they view you as a manipulator, as somebody who's just treating them as stepping stones or anything like that, if they view that to you, why should they come to you privately? You should go to them privately. Even when, remember, Bao broke down with this apology. Bao broke down with this apology and this apology. Because you didn't go talk to Bao. You also had the power to go talk to them privately. You didn't. You could have gone and talked to them. You could have reached out to them. You chose not to as well. So at the same vein that, hey, none of these people came to talk to me, why didn't you reach out to talk to them? Why didn't you reach out to clear this up with them? Why didn't you show the initiative there? Like, the shoe goes both ways. I can say they should have come to you all day and night, but they felt hurt. They felt unseen, and they felt manipulated by you. Your job should have been go over there and talk to her. Bao broke down crying on stream, saying you never once reached out to her privately. All you did was post this and then ghost. Why didn't you reach out to Bao? Why didn't you show the initiative? If you're really trying to set things right, go do it yourself. It shouldn't be Bao's responsibility. She sees all this stuff. Why should Bao go to you to talk to you? You should go to Bao after she puts out the doc and go like, hey, there's a complete misunderstanding. It's all insanely crazy right now. I'm so sorry that you're feeling it this way. You could have done that too. But the fact that you didn't also speaks volumes. You did neglect your friends there. You didn't go out there and help out where you should have. You didn't try to set things right when you had the chance. And you're saying that it's all them. Why did they drop me so soon? you didn't show any effort to actually be their friend. You could say, well, I did all this stuff over here for them. Look at the cosplays I was making for them. Look at all these cool cosplays I was making, guys. Awesome. Why didn't you reach out to Bao? Why didn't you reach out to Numi? Why didn't you guys have a private Discord call? Private. Didn't have to go live. Didn't have to do anything. Why didn't you guys speak completely privately behind the scenes? Because I could always go back to that. It was one of the few streams that happened after the apology where Bao's breaking down crying. Talking about how you never once came to her privately to talk. You consider her a friend, and now you're trying to say that she should have come to you? Why didn't you go to her? Because you were neglecting her. A lot of my friendships did suffer due to where my priorities have been. Especially over the course of 2024. Because of my focus being overwhelmingly on work and less on my personal relationship outside of it, I neglected people I cared about, and so did Red, both online and IRL. Even my closest friends, unless it was about work, I didn't put as much energy into just talking about hanging out. But that's not to say I never did, never wanted to, or disliked them for any reason. I had my things going on, and I know they had theirs. When I wasn't streaming or working on something, I'd be isolating or hanging out with Red to decompress, and I didn't have the energy to socialize. I tried to plan collabs with friends as often as I could, and it was a way to hang out while still appeasing my content brain. My collabs with my friends were made into YouTube videos, but to say that I was using them for that, as if countless other VTubers don't do the same thing, is crazy. When I was traveling to see my friends, all I wanted to do was hang out and spend as much time together as I could, and it was the happiest I was. Red and I always loved, valued, looked out for, and appreciated our friends. That's a lie. Because what you did to Bao. Red cutting out Bao. Red treating Bao that way. That's obviously a lie right there. That's a flat out lie. Even if we didn't show it as often as we should have. That's a lie. And when it comes to all this, you're right. You're neglecting, they're neglecting, whatever. You could also show the initiative. You could also put your best foot forward. You could say like both sides here, like the friend group and her, you know, they were following, neither side was working good. You could say that. But you could have also put in the more effort. You could also, the idea that you were neglecting them still falls on you. You could have put in the initiative. You could have put in the work. That's on you, Cinder, not them. And this is something I really do have a problem with the initial Cinder stuff. She's blaming everybody else but herself. Like, the friend's not coming to her to talk to her. They feel hurt. You're to go to them. Well, they weren't putting in the initiative either. Okay, they could be wrong with that friendship as well. You still need to put in the work. You're not willing to do that. I'm sorry to those of my friends who I haven't given the time they gave to me. I'm sorry for those I haven't spoken to in a long time, for no other reason than my own negligence. And I'm sorry to my friends that I only focused on work with and didn't spend enough time being your friend outside of it. Great. And I'm giving you credit here. I'm legitimately giving you credit here. You are admitting, like, hey, I'm sorry for fucking up here. I'm sorry. But this also feels like, hey, I never had this mentality. But it looks that way. It does look that way. And then when you go like, hey, my friends dropped me so soon. Don't say that. Don't say that. Say, hey, I failed my friends. I see why my friends felt this way. I see it because I was neglecting them. That's a much better approach to this than just saying, I can't believe they dropped me so soon. What would have come over them? It's pretty obvious what would have come over them. If you want to do this whole, hey, they were manipulated, they were lied to, all this stuff. If you want to take that approach, like, hey, I see why they felt this way. I see they were manipulated to think this way. They were misled. It was an honest mistake. It was an honest accident. I should have gone to them. But you not saying that, you not saying that little parts. You not taking the I statements. These are important I statements when doing an apology. I fucked up. I should have done this. I should have done this. Don't blame anybody else when you do an apology. You're the one that's apologizing. I. You not saying that, I don't believe your apology here. It's nice. It sounds good. Don't get me wrong. But I'm sorry to this. That's nice. But then all this justification here, it goes both ways. It's not just their fault that this fell apart. It's also your fault. The business mindset. Red and I slowly became more closeted after... Red and I slowly became more closed off and neglectful of people over the past couple of years, but especially throughout 2024, focusing more and more of our time and energy on this career. Work became almost 24/7 for us, never taking a break. It was our job, our hobby, and almost all we talked about. Again, you guys are constantly talking about work, but I'm to believe that you didn't talk about work. I got it. We loved what we did, but we both became consumed by the content grind. Our work-life balance became non-existent. We were going and going and going all day, every day as a two-person team, working to an obsessive degree. We were always trying to do more with more people all the time. Everything became about doing bigger things, achieving more, accomplishing more, growing bigger, launching more cool things, having more opportunities while keeping up with at least 4 to 5 streams a week. Our problem wasn't greed like it was claimed. It was ambition. Well, okay, but it could also be that you had a bad mindset. Like it could actually look a little greedy, like you're so business oriented, you're so focused in on this stuff. It could look greedy. You could say it's ambition, but great. It could also look greedy. Ambition that was wearing us too thin to keep up with everything, but it was never enough to take a step back and relax. We were always looking ahead, always had to be progressing, and never stopped to appreciate where we were or the people around us. The money was nice, but it's never been the driving factor for anything we did. It was an indicator of a successful project, event, or merch drop that anyone understood. The majority of what I've made and spent went back into my work or towards the house my dad has been building. I've released a lot of merch, and it's something Red and I have both been passionate about. Coming up with and releasing cool new merch products is one of the most fun and fulfilling things to work on. And being on new products like a drink flavor or a trading card game was super exciting to us. It was always about launching cool things for my community over the money it made. I've turned down merchandise opportunities and many more sponsorship opportunities than I've ever accepted, only taking on those I really wanted or had a strong interest in. Even though a lot of them were paying very well, being a greedy, money-hungry person has been falsely projected onto me. It's never been all about the money for either of us. To be fair, I never thought they were doing it just for the money. But when you say it's just business, when you have that mentality, people do think that you're just in it for the money. Simultaneously, I do think this is another one of those straw man moments. Similar to one of the other things I pointed out, you know, the whole conspiracy, the years-long conspiracy, blah, 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 blah. I think this is another straw man where I don't really see people calling you greedy. They said you were too business-oriented, and you yourself even admit to that. So I think this is you straw manning that approach, saying, well, you're just thinking I'm too greedy, when it was you're so business oriented, you're willing to cut down your friends. That was the argument that I was primarily seeing. I wasn't really seeing people say that you were just greedy. Like, nobody's complaining that you were putting out merch from what I was seeing. Not a single person was. Every VTuber puts out merch for the most part. This, though, looks more like, hey, I'm coming out here and I'm going to say I'm not greedy, And I'm going to manipulate the idea that, hey, I was just business oriented. Again, it's that straw man approach that I've been pointing out. One instance I'm being called out for regarding this was during my Heaven Hound model debut during my lore video. I had an intermission where my chat needed to fill a gold bar on screen with bits to progress the video. It was the easiest way for me to implement interactivity into the debut, and my chat having direct involvement by cheering me on was important to the story being shown. The motivation wasn't to have people give me money for the sake of it. I mean, if somebody's calling you greedy because of this, I'm going to say it's not a good look. I'm going to say it's not a good look, to be fair. But I think this is another straw man where, hey, I'm going to pick one random thing that somebody was saying out and use this to knock it all down. Because I could see the mentality behind it. Don't get me wrong. I can see the ideas behind it. But it doesn't sound that good. Like, legitimately, I wouldn't have ever advised against. I would have 100% advised against that. Because it's like, give me more cheers and bits. Give me more bits to progress the story. That does not look good. That does look greedy. That does. I could probably see your mentality behind it. I don't like it. It doesn't look good to you. I wouldn't try to even use this one as an example. This mindset got myself and my career to where it was, but it took over our lives to an unhealthy degree, leading to the deterioration of our health and relationships with people. Being canceled and away from work gave us time to address this problem in our personal lives. For example, I have my own dog now who's been keeping me busy. I've gotten back into cosplay after not working on my I can't read this one. Nilister build for months. I've been trying to lead a healthier lifestyle, and I've been going to the gym regularly. Despite finding it difficult to be motivated about things since April, I've been making changes so I don't fall back into the same unhealthy work mindset I was in. Okay. You know what? That's good. Good. Legitimately, that's good. You're working on yourself. You're bettering yourself. And hey, you got a doggo. I'll give you credit. You got a doggo. Doggos are good. Doggos always help humanity. It always makes you sound better. She sounds like a AAA game developer, lol. I'm going to be honest here. This one here does not sound good. It does sound like a AAA game developer. It sounds like an EA game developer. I'm not going to lie. That does not sound good. And I would not have put that in there. I would have tried to ignore that one. Because if this is something somebody's been using, I would have said, yeah, that's retarded. But at the same time, you don't look good. You don't look good in that moment. This right here, this whole thing, hey, I'm trying to better myself. I'm trying to get better idea. I'm trying to work on myself, but being this business-oriented individual, this solely focusing in on this stuff, I like that look. I think this is a good look. I think this is a good idea. I think this works so well on you. Story twist, she puts the shock collar on the dog. Don't bring this up, Weasel. Don't do that. Like, this all here, I think is good. I think it's a good idea even for her. Outside looking in, I think it's a good idea for her to have something to take her away from streaming a little bit. Because if you're streaming too much and you're too focused in on streaming, it does feel, you do have a bad mindset. You need to be able to step away and do other IRL stuff. You can't always be on the computer 24/7. Even take a look at Asmongold. Asmongold, it's tragic to say that he stepped away because of his dad, but even prior to that, he was taking, hey, vacation time, I'm going away. Kirsha, vacation time, going away. Every streamer needs a period of time where they're like, hey, I'm stepping away, I'm going to take care of IRL stuff. That way you have that good, healthy balance. Forcing herself to have this healthy balance that she's been imposing on herself, I think that's a good idea. I legitimately do. Taking care of the dog, focusing on other stuff outside of streaming, going to the gym more regularly, all that's a good idea. I should go to the gym myself. Competition. In my apology, I said, I'm disgusted with myself for buying into the narrative that my friends were competition. I just learned about all this myself, and there could have been so many other friends affected by the narrative that things always had to be competitive. Red always considered everyone our competition, including my friends. I understood and agreed with this reasoning below. It didn't change anything between my friends and I didn't treat them any differently because of it. The only person I became directly competitive against was Silvervale, and that wasn't right of me. You see, that whole competitive nature, including my friends, like, I didn't change, but you would have changed. You would have changed, and this goes to why your friends were neglected. This goes to why your friends didn't want to reach out to you or anything like that. That goes to it all. All that stuff, they start seeing all that stuff. They don't want to reach out to you. That's your job to reach out to them. So I could point that out over and over again, but I know the Sinder defenders won't acknowledge that. Red, the content creation sphere is massive, and the VTuber sphere is a fraction of that with its own audience. Everyone is always doing something, launching something, playing something, and it's a constant race of relevancy. Whether you want to look at it that way or not, it's the nature of the industry. Part of the reason why we were always working on new things, releasing bigger things at a faster and faster rate, was to stay competitive in the space. In a general sense, everyone was competition. Friends, other VTubers, and other content creators. You see, that's still a bad way to look at it. They're not all competition. You're not competing with each other, because the rising tide, you're working together. The rising tide raises all ships. You know that whole saying, or the rising sail, whatever. Like, that whole mentality is actually helpful. It's healthy to have that mentality. I don't like to look at other content creators as my competition. I hate that idea. It looks atrocious, and it breeds bad thought processes. I'm not going to come out here and say, you know, Adam is my competition because he's my friend. I would like to do better. I'm not going to view you as competition, though. Because when you start viewing it all as a competition and as all this, you get an unhealthy mindset, and it leads to what has led you here. Don't say, hey, it's everybody's competing for it. It's everybody. No, don't do that. Don't do that. That's bad. And especially when it's your friends. Your friends should be working alongside you. Saying, hey, I'm competing against my friends. No. But at the same time that anyone and everyone could be considered competition, they were also collaborators, co-workers, and partners. You see, this is where you should have been. Leave the competition. Only ever focus then on them as collaborators, co-workers, and partners. Always focus in on that. Not the competitive nature, because the competitive nature is what got you here. The end goal was about staying relevant and in people's minds, and making sure our projects could succeed alongside anything going on at any given time, while also topping our own things we've done in the past. At no point was this view ever motivation or an excuse to hurt, take advantage of, or put down creators around us. It wasn't an excuse, but it was one of your reasonings as to doing that. Especially friends. This is a business, it's a job, but keeping the business aspect of things in mind didn't affect the way I saw our friendship with people or the way I treated them. You see, again, that's a lie. That's a flat out lie. Because if that's true, Red convinced himself Bao gatekeeping her video editor to hurt our future music video project in December of 2024, then held a grudge and list of grievances against her. If that is true, what you said down here, if that's true, you wouldn't have treated Bao the way you did. This whole thing here, that's a flat out lie. You wouldn't have treated Bao the way you did if you truly thought this way. This is a business, it's a job, but keeping the business aspect of things in mind didn't affect the way I saw our friendship with people or the way I treated them. That's a flat out lie. You cannot say that this is not a lie at the same time as admitting how you treated Bao. You can't say this is true while you admit that you treated Bao like shit. That's a lie. They were my friends too, and we both cared about them, supported them, and helped them out when they needed it. I've always had the backs of the people closest to us. Lie. That there is a flat out fucking lie, and it's evidenced by your own admission that you treated Bao like shit. The only people I've ever considered as direct competition in the negative sense were people either we had something against or they had or did something against us. We were working with artists important to us. By April 2025, this was only Silvervale. Lie. From how she acted towards Sinder for years. Bow after what I thought she did to us and our other friendship in December of 2024, but only until sometime after my deal with Nano in January 2025, and potentially soon to be Lily by the way she was treating Sinder and considering getting a model from Nanolis at the same time. It was wrong of me to feel this way, especially towards Bao, and I'm sorry. So again, I never changed the way I felt about my friends. They were my friends. I was never acting this way. I never did any of this, but I did do this to Ballad. She was one of our closest friends. See, you're admitting to lying in your own justification and your own discussion about this. You are admitting to lying. And the weirdest thing is Cinder defenders are going to eat this shit up. Here, I want to address people Red and I hurt that don't have a larger section in this document. Tricky Wiki. Tricky. My friend Red and I traveled to Japan last year. About a week into our trip around the country, we arrived in Tokyo for the last few days there. Red, Tricky, and I were all talking about going to the Godzilla store the night we arrived, but other plans left us with no time to go. The next morning, Red and I were up super early and were ready to leave the hotel around 8 or 9 a.m. We waited in our hotel room for about an hour without hearing from Tricky at all. Because we only had a few days left in Japan, Red and I wanted to make the most of our remaining time. We were around friends all week and didn't have much, if any, time alone together in Japan either. The other half a dozen of us there either had their own plans or were still sleeping too. There were other friends staying at the same hotel as Red, Tricky, and I, so instead of waiting around for Tricky to wake up, we selfishly chose to go out into the city and to the Godzilla store without her. By the time Tricky was awake and ready to leave the hotel, Red and I were across the city and didn't go back to get her. We only met up with her towards the end of the day when everyone reconvened somewhere. Red and I are sorry to Tricky for leaving her behind and hurting her. We've always been there for her, especially when we've traveled together. We didn't think she'd be left completely alone with how many of us were together in Tokyo, but we still should have waited for her instead of going off on our own. She was one of our best friends, and we're both so sorry. I am going to ask this, and I haven't gone on Twitter to look it up yet. Did you reach out to Tricky to talk to her about this privately? Or is this the first time Tricky is hearing the apology? Because again, you need to do the work to talk to her privately. Because if you're doing the whole, I'm so sorry, Tricky, in public, but never going to her privately to discuss this stuff with her, it kind of falls on deaf ears. You need to be willing to go out there and do the work. You need to go out there and try this. Why should she come to you? You can do all this whole stuff. You can lay this all out, but Tricky still feels hurt. She sees you as a manipulator. She sees you as not wanting to give her time of day. You're not doing the work to go out to talk to her. Now, if you are doing the work to go out to talk to her, I'll accept all this. I'll think this is fine. But you need to have actually gone out and talked to Tricky first. Cottontail. I'm sorry to Cotton for the way I avoided her and turned down collabs together for a situation that had nothing to do with me. I thought I was being a good friend to someone I was close with, but it was unfair to her to treat her that way. I did not agree with how Red included her name in his deal with Nano, and I wouldn't have let him if I knew about it, regardless of how I felt about her at the time. It was wrong for me to ask Nano not to work with Cotton. It was a spur-of-the-moment thing, and after hearing about the situation she was involved in, I took it upon myself to do what I thought was right by another friend. Cotton's always been nice to me personally, and she didn't deserve that. I'm sorry. Again, They were my friends too, and we both cared about them, supported them, and helped them out when they needed it. I've always had the backs of the people closest to us. Until they weren't close and you were willing to cut them down. See the problem there. See the issues there. I'm not agreeing with this entire document right now. I'm still criticizing it. Nixu. Nixu deleted her Twitter tweet with her document about me. She shouldn't have, because she was right. I was going to include it here for reference, but I've left it out because what she wrote in it. So instead, I've summarized the situation below. Second, I don't want any kind of public reaction to this. I really do not want to appear videos or similar. I do not want my case being used as an excuse to put more hate into it. I just want to share and let it out of my chest. I'll probably delete it in the end. Nixu, or whatever, is an artist that reached out to me via email about making artwork in exchange for showing it off and giving a shout out. Oh, this is the whole shout out thing. To be fair, I think he did wrong there, but I don't think that's super atrocious. To be fair, like I don't think it's on par with like the Tricky, Cottontail, Silverveil, or anything like there. I don't think that's on par. The Bow stuff, I don't think it's on par, and I think it's one of those things like, see, I'm ingratiating myself with everybody, including the artists that I kind of screwed over. It's like, yeah, good. Maybe we should focus more in the serious stuff and less in like the artists you kind of screwed over. But you at least admit you screwed over. I'll give her credit, because the rundown here was, hey, you were just, there was an artist wanted a shout out and credit. You didn't give him a shout out and credit, and yeah, that was kind of shitty. And you were kind of, I think it was that you were also taking stuff like, here, I'll read through this just to remember it all. That reached out to via Patreon on stream. I hadn't seen the email, but she made a tweet laying out her terms, tagging me in it. I messaged her that I was interested. I put her in contact with Red, and he handled things from there. Through Red, we made our agreement. It wasn't until she had a large portion of the sketch finished when I had changed my mind about our agreement and didn't want to do it anymore. I don't know what was going through my head or what my reason was for this, but I told Red to call it off. Red tried to make it seem like there was a miscommunication somewhere to save face for me, but it was really because I was being unprofessional. He talked to me, and I agreed to follow through with the arts showcase and shout out on my stream. However, I failed to follow Nixie's terms as they were agreed upon. I didn't verbally shout out her Patreon and only showed the link to it that was on her artwork. I also didn't show the censored, not safe for work version of the art, but that was because I was worried about getting in trouble with Twitch. Well, you would do that on your Fansly that you had at the time. So yeah, I can say like this was a shitty situation. You are unprofessional. I'm not gonna like treat you like dirt for that. This was an unprecedented situation I caused with an artist, and I've never done something like this with anyone else. I handled an agreement I made extremely and regrettably unprofessionally. This was way out of character for me, and I'm sorry to Nixu for how I handled things and for the stress I caused her. I encourage anyone reading this to please support her and her incredible work. And I don't fully disagree with that, but there's still a lot here that I have problems with. Again, you're kind of playing the victim in some regards, that your friends didn't come and talk to you. Well, they were hurt. Why should they come and talk to you? You should go to them. You see that they're hurt. You're the better friend. You should go to them. And I'm not saying you're the better friend, but you are the friend that they perceive has hurt them. You go to them to talk to them. They have no obligation to come to you in that moment. Simultaneously, I don't like how, Red's over here kind of admitting that he was treating people like shit. Well, I was trying to say, well, I wasn't treating people like shit, but I was treating people like shit. And then you're kind of admitting that you guys were doing all the things that is being accused of you. All the atrocious things, all the treating people like shit, all the neglect you were doing. And I'm not going to lie, it still seems like you were treating some of your friends like stepping stones, and that you were only wanting to use them for not monetary gains. I think that's wrong, but only for content purposes. I see where they are coming from with that. So you saying it's not fair that they view me that way, you're not even doing the minimum work to say, I kind of see where they're coming from. I kind of see where I've been fucking up. And it feels like you're trying to have your cake and eat it too. Like, it's not fair that they view me this way, even though I do this stuff. You see my issues with like the apologies and stuff like this. I still don't think it's good. If I compare this to what was going on over here, I'm going to give it like this was atrocious. This was a 1 out of 10. Should never have been published. Should never have gone out. I'll give her credit here. I'll say this is a 4 out of 10, maybe a 5 out of 10 of apology. Like, she is taking accountability, but there's still the things where it's like, hey, it's not fair that they viewed me this way. You look at all the stuff that I was doing for them. I would never view them that way, but you're not even taking into account why they might have viewed you that way. So like, there is serious issues even with your apology section. Again, like, hey, I'm always super close with my friends and I treat them so good, except for Bao, who's always had your back. So you can see like several of these issues here that it's not, it doesn't work, guys. It doesn't work that well. It's better than what we did have, but it's not alleviating my concerns I have with this. I still believe that you knew what Red was doing. I still believe that you are connected to this, and I still believe that you were manipulating people. Now, I'm saying all this mainly because I'm going to start wrapping up this section of me going through these documents, because next time we come back here, we're going to be tackling Nanoliths. And when it comes to Nanoliths, 292 pages. That's a stream in and of itself. That's a stream in and of itself. What about when it comes to Bao? How much are we doing on Bao? 130 pages. V cards. 36. Shy Lily. 33. So Nanoliths is going to have to be its own stream in and of itself. So yay! Holy fuck. Because there's no way I can do a Nanoliths all by... I cannot tackle Nanoliths right now. That's so many pages in and of itself right now. That is so much to tackle right now. So I am going to be calling it on this one right here. I will come back. I will address this. Hopefully tomorrow's stream, I will tackle all of the Nanoliths one. Hopefully, but we will see that. But until next time, I'm going to leave this clip here for right now. That's insane. She'll still have her die-hard viewers. I just can't imagine any future for collabs. So right now where I am sitting in this, I agree with you. I know there are several people that are saying like the Nanolith part is what blows it all up and like starts showing that we were being lied to, that we were being manipulated, and it's all Nanolith's fault. I want to tackle that all on its own before I go any further with this. I do want to tackle that section because I want to know what's all being alleged there. I want to go through it. I want to see what's being said, and we're going to tackle that all on its own. Okay? Because I think that's fair, because the Nanolith section is apparently super important. But even when it comes to like here, I'm going to pull up Lumi's thing right here. Like she does, she uploaded it all to ChatGPT to go through a lot of this stuff. One of the things that I wanted to point out was Shy Lily. Role of Shy Lily in escalating drama. Sinder speculates that Shy Lily manipulated Nano and the wider friend group, according to her Shy Lily. Helped write Nano's document, which is a fact, using it to control the narrative and make herself look heroic. Lied to Nano by claiming Red was manipulating her, which they already kind of admitted that they were kind of manipulating Nano and guilt tripping her and doing all that. So if you're going to say this, you have to then go back and acknowledge that you guys were doing this. Publicly mocked Cinder's apology and used her stream to turn audience against her, framing Sinder as greedy and insecure, may have deliberately influenced others, including Bao and Silverveil, to act swiftly without verifying facts. See, like when I read this, the Shy Lily part, you're using a lot of hearsay and a lot of speculation to justify your view there. And one of the big problems people were having is, well, Nano and Shy Lily were using speculation and bad things to justify this stuff. If that's the attack vector you want to go through here, then you're going to have to use the same attack vector through here. If you're using a bunch of, if it's wrong for them to speculate, then it's wrong for you to speculate. You need to have hard evidence. So this is just, again, ChatGPT summary. I don't have all the evidence in front of me. I want to tackle these all on their own. The Bao thing, she tries to go like, well, Bao was just manipulated. Bao was just manipulated. There's a lot here, and this Sinder stuff isn't going to be going away anytime soon, especially because it's 1,000 fucking pages. And I think this is going to be a big problem people have. I think this is going to be a serious problem people have with this document, is the idea that you're throwing so much information out there all at once. 1,000 pages. That is a form of manipulation. That is a form of trying to control the narrative. And that is a form of just trying to tackle this because there's so much information, your brain can't grasp on to every little thing. So you do have to take this in chunks right now, because if you don't take this in chunks, you're going to be up shit's creek. And she's going to be able to just go like, hey, I did nothing wrong. So isn't the burden of proof on the accuser, as she said? That's true. So I haven't gone to that. So I'm not using that as evidence right now. But if you were going to speculate that she did this, this, and this, you need to show the evidence for it. If you're taking the burden of proof is on the accuser, you need to show evidence as to why you think this is the case and why this is the case. You can't use that argument against yourself, because now you're trying to levy accusations against Shy Lily. So there is some serious stuff that I'm already seeing that I have red flags for. I don't think it's as good as people think it is. I know some people are saying, I think we were lied to this whole time. I don't see where I'm seeing that I was lied to part. I'm seeing that people kind of got it right. But we'll keep going through this on a later date. It's not going to be a good later date. Most of it is DMs for proof. I have people already saying I don't need to read it. Most of it's DMs for proof. Sorry, I was checking my current status on where I was with stuff. That wouldn't shock me. There's people changing how many pages there are. It's ranging. It's increasing. At one point in time, people said that it was actually 700 pages. Now they're saying, well, it's about what I have somebody saying, no, it's 1,030 pages. Now I see somebody saying it's about 1,127 pages total. This is insane. This is not good. I'm going to come out here and say it. Out the gate, this isn't good. Trying to drop this big of a fucking doc to disprove everything, that's not good. That doesn't look good, and that's not helpful for your overall cause. And that is going to drive people away from it. It is going to hurt people at the end of the day, and it's going to tell people, yeah, I don't really like this. I think this is bad. I think this isn't going to help out at all. And it is going to hurt you incredibly. Hey, I have to say it right here, Nuxtaku, because this is what we've been reading through right now. What I've been reading through is like, hey, but they didn't like you for this, this, or this. You're not really addressing that. Nuxtaku says it out, 1,000 pages, and you missed the whole point. They hate you because you were a two-faced, shitty, backstabbing friend, in their words, and no amount of context and Google Docs will undo that betrayal. That's true. Even from the little bits that we've read so far, that's true. All I've seen so far is, yes, you are admitting to being a two-faced, cunny friend. And no amount of context will undo that. You need to go to them to work with them. You can't fix that without them. And it doesn't seem like you're willing to do that. You just want to play the victim. I'm going to say it. Facts. facts. That's just straight facts. Facts. Like, if you can't, like, the reality of the situation might be, yes, Nano's a bad person, but you're still not going to get through that you were a two-faced person, and you're kind of admitting to being a two-faced person in the doc that we've seen so far. I'm gonna probably keep this for posterity purposes on this tab real quick. Give me a second. I know that's Hasan. I'm gonna put this here. I will say the other thing to this, and this is also making me think. I have this from Legal Mindset. I have this from Mindset over here. I will simply say this. If what Sinder VTuber says is indeed true, she has a classic case of defamation and likely other claims such as tortious interference with contract and should bring them. Why isn't she bringing them? The truth would come out in court. She could easily bring them. If what you're saying is true, is what you're alleging here is true, bring it in court. Sue them. Because they would have actually hurt you reputationally. They would have caused business. They would have hurt you business-wise. It would have been a disaster. This is actually a classic defamation case. Bring it in court. Do it. I don't disagree with what he said here at all. I don't. And I do think it says something that she's not bringing it to court. I don't. Sorry. I'm just gonna say I see her doing what she's been accused of. I'm checking something, and then I need to start wrapping it up. So, okay, Hamas terrorist murderer over 60 year. Yeah. Oh, that's next. Just saying something funny. That's next. Just saying something funny. Why do all my haters imagine having sex with me? I'm looking through, seeing some notifications, because I need to start wrapping this up. So, okay. On this note, because I need to start wrapping it up, I do have... I can't believe I'm going to do this. Tomorrow night... I'm fucking retarded. Tomorrow night, I will be streaming. I'll be streaming the Nanolist section of this Google Doc. I'm fucking retarded. The Nanolist section of the Google Doc will be the entirety of the stream. There won't be anything else. I'm just going to be tackling Nanolist's section. Then Thursday, I'll do the Shy Lily section. Or I'm going to try to do the Shy Lily section Thursday. It might be Saturday before I can get to the Shy Lily section. Because here's the sad reality, guys. I shouldn't be streaming both tomorrow and Thursday. Because Thursday morning, I have to be at work by 7 a.m. My time. I don't get off until 10 a.m. and I don't start streaming till around 11-ish. Sometimes midnight. So... I'm gonna be fucked up Thursday. Thursday, I probably shouldn't stream either, but I need to cover, at least get to the Shy Lily section. So, or at least get to the Silver Veil section. That way I can keep tackling this equally. Thursday might be questionable. To be fair, Thursday's stream might be questionable as of right now. Wednesday stream, I kind of have to do it. I'm gonna hate myself, and I'm making a very bad decision. But I'm going to hate myself and I'm going to do it. So tomorrow we will be back to tackle the Nanolist section. Jeremy Wormy, I'm going to end up sleeping less than you. I already sleep barely at all. So I will tackle it then. Saturday, we're just going to keep going through this. I know Saturday was going to be React Day. I'm going to have to move React Day now to Sunday because of Sinder. So Saturday, we'll keep just tackling what we've done. Hopefully we can get through everything by the end of Saturday. If not, we will finish it on Sunday. Because I'm going to take this in chunks right now because I can't do this. No normal human can easily just go all the way through this. This is insane. This is straight up insane. So this will be something that we just have to keep tackling slowly and surely. But as it stands now, we will see where this all goes. We will keep doing this one at a time. And I do want to take a note. Okay, Tree. I don't like Tricky. I like her. I'm gonna check this out. Has she made a statement? Replies. Nothing. Tricky hasn't made a statement. Okay, I'm gonna go back to this Cinder. I'm gonna pull up Cinder's thing real quick. And I'm gonna click on this. And I'm just gonna see. Has there been any of the big guys come out yet to make a statement? And I'm doing this over here mainly because somebody might be willing to do something. I mean, the Buff Puff thing is still kind of facts. I'm not gonna lie. What am I gonna be seeing here? Is any of the bigger guys saying anything? Because if they do say something, I will bring that up tomorrow. As of right now, I'm not seeing any big creator, any big person. I haven't seen Shy Lily make a statement. Numi, Bao, any of them. Like, if I type in Bao, because Bao's going to be the one that you really need to get the approval for. I'm sorry. That's going to be the one that actually needs to make this right. And there's nothing. There's nothing. So you haven't even had Bao come out here and say anything yet. So there's that. But we will see what happens. We will see where this goes, and we'll keep tackling this as time goes on. But until next time, guys, you all have a lovely night, have a lovely day, have a lovely time wherever it is in the world that you may be seeing this right now. And I'll see you guys all on the next one. Bye for now.